Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Clockwork Cantina, episode 138. I am one of your hosts, Josh 902, and this is the other host of the show.
I'm DT3. What's good, everyone?
How are you doing out there, guys? Hope you're having a good Monday. Hope you're having a good N7 day, and hope you're having a good first podcast in November with us today. So, yeah, we'll be doing some D&D World Building in the second half of the show. We're gonna, I can already, I'm gonna prime that up a little bit. We're gonna talk about some safety tools too before we get into that part of the
Oh,
show as well, because MCDM released some things, and we're gonna talk about them because it's a cool thing to talk about. But that'll be in the second half of the show. We got news and stuff as usual in the first half of the show, as well as what we've been up to the past week of what we've been up to. But dude, two more episodes, DT. Two more, and we'll be at 140.
true.
140, my
So
friend. That is a lot.
not long now. Not long now.
Indeedy. All right, let's hop into it. Let's just get into it right away. DT, what have you been up to the past week? Let me go ahead and change over our text. What have you been up to? There we go. You're up. What you up to, my man? What you got?
Not much the past week. Just been playing some games. Fortnite, Go Company, Overwatch 2. I started Prey on stream, so I've been doing that. And I'll be continuing that tomorrow. But the coolest thing or the best thing I would say this past week for me was I finally, after almost 2 weeks, watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and it was fucking awesome. It really was cool. I really enjoyed it from like start to finish. All the characters, just the whole world of the cyberpunk universe uh is awesome. I played the game already when it first came out, so just going through it all again in the TV show format was cool. There are certain things that happen in the show where you pull the Leonardo DiCaprio, like, look at the TV screen kinda deal, because you recognize some stuff. Um, and no, yeah, it was just amazing, dude, like, I did not watch it on the sub, I watched the dub, and they definitely used the slang, and it made me wanna go back to calling everybody chooms and talking about how preem shit is and you know, all that cyberpunk slang that was cool that we said for a little bit when the game came out. Like it's awesome, dude. Like I really it's one of my favorite, like it's probably one of my favorite anime now. Like it's awesome. It really is cool. Like I don't want to hype it up too much, but I really did enjoy it. I loved it. It
Yeah,
was awesome.
I need to watch it, man. I need to check it out. I really
Yeah, it's
do.
only it's only 10 episodes. And each one is like less than half an hour because it's animated anime shows are not that very long. Um, but yeah, no, it was really, really cool. I really did enjoy it. And it's on Netflix if anybody's wondering where it's on. If you're wondering where it is, uh definitely go and give it a shot because it's something that I had been wanting to watch because I like Cyberpunk the game. So I was like, let me check out the show and finally did. And man, I should have watched it when it first came out because it's that good. Uh I've like fucking pretty much binged it all in one day. It was amazing. But yeah, I really did love it. So if you guys watch it, let me know what you think. Um, because like I said, I really did like enjoy it. It was really good. And then of course been keeping up with Andor because we're gonna be talking about that in a couple weeks once
Hell
that's
yeah.
over. So that's pretty much been my week though. Nothing super exciting or out of the ordinary or anything. Just chill, normal week. And yeah, I finally watched Cyberpunk, so I'm very happy to have finally seen that. And yeah, you definitely gotta let me know what you think after you watch it. Because honestly, like after I saw it, I was like, man, if we had both seen it when it first came out, we could have done an episode on this. But oh well, you know.
Yeah. It's just
But
the
yeah,
way
it
the
was
cookie crumbles. I definitely want to check it out.
yeah. It's good though. Yeah, it's really, really good. So definitely give it a shot.
Sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much been what I've been up to.
All right, for me, I've been playing. It's been very I'm kind of like the same as DT. Like I just haven't done a lot. It's just kind of like the huge. I've been playing a lot of Mountain Blade Bannerlord because I got it. I modded it till I broke it and I fixed it. So I've been playing that. I think I've played like 30 hours the past 2 weeks. I think's what it says on Steam. Having fun with it. I like it's just a giant sandbox you get to go play around in and have fun and join kingdoms and go to war and try to make money. And I just enjoy playing Bannerlord. It's kind of like my. I'm not really. I'm done with everything. I can watch a podcast on this monitor and I can play my game on the main monitor and like it's just that kind of game for me. So, doing that. Last Tuesday, I started the first game. I joined a group to learn how to play the Dune tabletop RPG that I have the books for, but haven't gotten to learn like actually run any of the games yet. And we played for a couple hours, and it was cool. It was fun. It was I've learned the basics of the system that I actually feel confident that I could teach people to play this game now. Uh,
Nice.
so it will be hopefully in the future. I would love to run the beginner game for another group of people to get to learn to play Dune because I love Dune and a lot of my friends love Dune or are getting into Dune for the first time, like DT. And it's and we love tabletop RPGs, so learning new systems is great.
Yeah.
Helps inspire and change different
Which,
things.
by the way, really quickly,
Hmm.
watching Cyberpunk again made me want to play a fucking Cyberpunk RPG or D&D because
Yeah.
it just it does that show does such a good job of like making you want to go into that world, you know. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you, dog. I got you. One day when we do these D because we're doing D&D World Building episodes, we need to. I love Dungeons and Dragons, but we need to swap it up a little bit and like mess with some Cyberpunk books, or mess with some of the Dune books, or mess with some of those
Yeah,
other
we should.
RPGs that are out there. I love
Yeah,
Dungeons
we
and
should.
Dragons. Don't get me wrong, but it is not the end all be all when it comes to tabletop RPGs. There are a ton of them out there, and they all do different things, and they are all very unique in their own ways and have special mechanics. So it's like a thing I would love to dive into in the future for sure. Um, I'm staying caught up on Andor because we're obviously going to do a show on that in the future. Uh, and I watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel season 2, episodes 9 and 10. I had fallen off just because I'd gotten busy and didn't get to finish
Yeah,
season 2. But I finished season 2. I love this show. I love it. I love it. I started season 3
it's
as well.
great.
I've watched episode 1 of season 3. I just love the show. It's funny. It's cute.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah.
It's also amazing to me. Like I'm on season 3, episode 1, so minor spoilers, right? It's amazing to me how they choreograph like there's a giant dance number in the opening of season 3, episode 1. There's a ton of singing
Huh.
and dancing and on top of that, it's a period piece, right? So everybody's dressed up in these old clothes and they're doing these old dances and doing these old songs, and it's just like, man, they put a lot of work into this show and make it look good. It kind of blew my mind a little bit
Yeah.
with watching Marvelous Miss Maisel. So it was interesting. And it's good. I recommend it if you haven't
Yeah.
seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
It's uh it's one of Amazon's best shows.
Absolutely. I liked it more
Like
than The Rings of Power.
damn. Okay, yeah.
I mean, just to be
Yeah,
honest.
nah. No, I mean, hey, yeah, yeah, look, like, yeah, I would it's really good, like, people out there shouldn't sleep on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel because it's actually a really, really good show, and, uh, the cast is pretty good, and yeah, it's everything, like, think the show is, like, if you're thinking about it one way, like, just go into it, check it out. It's really, really good. Like honestly,
Really
like
is.
I said, it's one of Amazon's best shows. The main actress, Rachel Brosnahan, she needs to be in more stuff because I'm starting to feel about her the way that I felt about Tatiana Maslany
Hmm.
fucking Orphan Black. Like she needs to be in more things because she's so good, you know. But
Yeah.
uh But yeah, that show's definitely fantastic. It's yeah, like Josh said, it's a period piece. It's there's a lot more to it than what you would think. No, yeah, you're right, Baba. I never watched that though, so I was like, and also she just really hasn't been in a lot of stuff in general.
Mhm.
right? In regards to Rachel Brosnahan, like she has been in House of Cards, but like apart from that, she just hasn't been in a lot of things, you know. So
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, it's great. I'm glad I'm getting to continue it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I didn't want to stop when I stopped last night. Like but I was like, man, it's getting kind of late. I start another episode. It's an hour because the episodes are an hour long. It's like if I do
mhm.
another episode, I'm just gonna end up staying up all night watching Mrs. Maisel and canceling Cantina today because I'm gonna be sleeping all day. And I was like, I didn't want to do that, like that was how it would have been though if I had continued because I really do like that show and
Good. It's really yeah, it's really good.
it's great. And last but certainly not least is the weight loss update because we do that every week on the show, good or bad. This week is fantastic actually because we weighed in yesterday on Sundays. We do it every Sunday and then we talk about it here on the show just in case you're out there and you're maybe trying to lose a little weight and I want to show you my journey as I try to lose weight together here. So, yesterday's weigh in we lost 4 pounds, guys. So that was a total for 34,
Nice.
I think 34.8 pounds lost, something like that. We're almost at 35. It was like so close. It's like, yes, it's continuing on.
It
Um,
is.
so
It's good shit,
it's
man.
it's great. I write it down on a board with a marker every Sunday. I'm up to.
Remember remember
Sorry.
last week when you tried to look at that and you were wearing the half mask and you're like, I can't see.
Mm, I didn't have my glasses on. Yeah, I
The
couldn't see it, but
Halloween
I can see
episode
it
where
now.
like, oh yeah, we can't see shit.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have every week, and then I have the weight that I weighed on that week, and it's on the board over there. I have 14 weeks. That's how much we've been. That's when we've been doing the weigh-ins. Um, I've been dieting longer than that, but I didn't start doing weigh-ins until like I had gone through the whole keto process of losing water because I wanted it to be like an honest weigh-in. I'm sure I've talked about this before. Because you lose water
Yeah.
like crazy, you almost lose 10 pounds of water weight when you start keto. It's just the way it is because you are peeing nonstop.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's the weight loss update, guys. It's good news this week. We've lost more weight. We're continuing to lose weight. And I was sitting there thinking earlier today, I was like, man, imagine when we hit week 28. What if we're that low? How much lower can we go by the time we get to week 28 on the weigh-ins? It's like, god damn.
Goddamn.
So it's I talk about it every week. I will continue to talk about it because one, talking about it keeps me honest. Like, we all have that little voice in our head that's like, I could sneak that extra cookie in there if I wanted to. I could sneak that one, and then that would lead to another one, and that would lead to another one, and then eventually that would lead to like a 10-pound weight gain. So as long as I'm talking about weight on this show and with you guys and with DT and on the Discord and with all our friends, like it keeps me honest, right? It helps keep me honest. Um, because I'll admit I'm a snacker. I love to snack and I love sweets, but I can't have any of that stuff while I'm doing keto except for like keto friendly, like sweet things. So talking about it helps keep me on the right track. And before it'd be like I used to be like when I try to lose weight, I would I wouldn't talk about it because I was afraid I would fail if I talked about it, right? I was afraid
Mm.
like if I start talking about my weight and I start telling everybody all this and then I fail, everybody's gonna know I fucking failed, right? It's total wrong mindset. And you shouldn't feel
Keeps it
that way
going though.
either. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You should talk about it. You should talk about it with everybody around you. You should talk about it every week. Even if it annoys those people. I'm sorry, guys, that are going to be annoyed by this, but it's facts because it's not necessarily for you. It's to help keep us on track. And it's not meant to be us bragging. It's meant to keep us honest and to help us stay on our path of a healthier life and living longer. So, you know, it's not an easy thing. So I this time when I've been dieting, it's just felt different for me. Like it really has. It feels like a different switch has been flipped. Talking about it with everybody and just being open and honest with it. Here on the podcast, on the Discord, on my Facebook, where I have a gigantic circle of support from my friends, which I appreciate from everybody that always is always there and listen to me be like, man, Josh lost another 5 pounds. I wish he'd shut up. Come on, it's because I love you guys and I want your support. You know what I mean. I'm joking around and kidding,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, that's kind of all I've been up to the past week. With all the stuff I've been up to, just a lot of Bannerlord. For the most part, making dice obviously as usual. Um, and that stuff. So that's what I have been up to. DT, do we want to hop into the news because we do have some, and I'm sure there's
Yeah, we
things that are breaking
do
even now as we're talking.
probably, yeah. We probably, but yeah, we do have some news to get to right now. There's actually been some interesting stuff will happen over the past week since we did the last show. So as like Josh said, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. First of all, we're gonna be starting like every week as we do with the gaming news. Um, so hurry up and get into that. And also, yeah, happy N7 day because today is N7 day. Josh mentioned that top of the show, but yeah, since we're getting into the gaming news, yeah, it is N7 day, and they do have some stuff for that, which we'll get to. But let's get into the first thing here, which is that Lionsgate is interested in a major John Wick video game adaptation with a much larger budget than the independent John Wick Hex. So while Lionsgate has at least two more John Wick movies on the way, the studio is also considering a big AAA game based on the franchise. During an earnings call on November 4th, uh, Lionsgate CEO John Feltheimer mentioned that the company has been discussing proposals for the game, but nothing has been set in stone yet. And this is what he said during the call, according to a report from IndieWire. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but we believe there's a big AAA game to be made out of John Wick. We have been fielding proposals. We certainly are interested in moving that forward, but I don't want to say anything more about that at this time. And I agree. They should
Mm-hmm.
definitely make a game. I've been wanting a damn John Wick game, big AAA John Wick game since I saw the movies, dude. Like I just they definitely need to do this. He can do it like Hitman style or something else. But I
I think I
definitely
tweeted out. I was like, they should do it like Max Payne, because that would be
mm,
perfect. Max Payne is all about gunplay and leaping around and doing cool, um, gun stunts, which is what John Wick is. Like Max Payne, man, would work, uh, very well. I feel like for John Wick.
yeah. I definitely want a game,
Same.
a John Wick game. Like it'd be awesome. I definitely get on that. Make it happen. Uh, we're getting the fourth chapter 4 next year. So start working on this game because by the time that movie comes out and the fifth one come out, I definitely am gonna want to play a game. So I mean, I already do, but I want to even more. It's gonna amplify that feeling even more. So get on it, get working on it because there's a lot of us that would love to play this game.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Next up, we have some news from the Embracer Group. Uh, they have shut down Square Enix Montreal just months after acquiring it. So, as we know, the Embracer Group, who has been just going around, I think the past like year or so, or I forget how long. It's been quite a bit of time, but they've been kind of going around and just buying stuff up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
left and right. Like they own this now and they own that now, and it's been kind of nuts seeing them just go around and buying things. But they have shut down Square Enix Montreal, like I said, only months after acquiring it. And what this means is that, oh shit, hold on, my page isn't loading. Let me open this up again. Okay, so they're shutting down the Montreal studio, formerly known as Square Enix Montreal. I think they had like changed the name of it, and then but again, formerly known as Square Enix Montreal. Uh, this They would be transferring the staff over to Eidos Montreal, sister studio, and it's kind of the timing of this is kind of unusual because uh they were they were purchased in May, and on October 10th announced a new name and branding. So that was like only like a month ago that they announced the new name and branding, and now they're just like, oh, they're gone. They're out of here. But the reason they're shutting them down is just they're trying to do some large cost cutting, across all their stuff. Um, and Eidos Montreal has reduced their scope of one announced project and will cancel another. Somebody familiar with the situation uh, said. And the company also plans to work with Microsoft Corporation to help develop some games, including one in the Fable franchise, led by UK-based Playground Games. So a little bit of news on the Embracer Group and all the shit they own and what they got coming up and whatnot. Uh, follow up that we have a February release date for Atomic Heart, which is a game that we had seen previously. Um, they, I think, have a trailer for it. Yeah, there's a release date trailer if you wanna throw that up, Josh,
Yeah, let me get that.
because it's coming out. The game is coming out on February 21st, 2023. So yeah, we can go ahead and check that out really quickly.
Trailer. Minute 24. Is that correct one?
Yeah, minute 20 or so. Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. There you go.
Not to be a negative Nancy, but slow motions of characters walking through cutscenes and fast forwarding the thing that matters, aka the gunplay, is really stupid. Okay, I
It
hate it.
it it is a very weird, really built trailer. It's like the gameplay is all like super like somebody put the YouTube video on like fucking uh like you know 1.75 playback speed or whatever, and then
Yeah.
like they would show a random character's face, and then they'd, like, go back to the fucking quick ass, gameplay.
Yeah,
So it is a little
it
weird trailer.
I'll be honest with you, it kinda
Uh,
hurt my eyes a little bit because of the fast forwarding. It was like, I wanna see some of the I wanna see some of the gameplay because that's what draws me in, not the cutscenes of characters with blank faces and, like, things like that, because there is no story there. I'm not attached to any of those characters in I mean, in the trailer. There is no story in
yeah.
this trailer.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
showing you all these, characters, models, and open spaces. And the thing that would get me into it, which is the gunplay and the shooting and that kind of thing, is like it's fast forwarded and it's a lot really quickly and it hurts my eyes and it's because it I'm sort of interested in the game, but I wanted to see the gameplay and it was like the thing I wanted to see they didn't they didn't let me have a good look at, like uh so I'm not trying to be negative on it, but it was like, oh man, that's not the best trailer in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a
Yeah.
particularly the fast forwarding of the stuff that I cared about was a little rough. But yeah, that's all I got to say on it.
But for
Mm.
those of you out there wondering what the hell this game is, it's gonna be a first person, uh, FPS action RPG, uh, that is set in an alternate version of the 1950s. Atomic Heart takes place in the Soviet Union, in which robotics and other advanced technologies were developed during World War II. Robots designed to help humans have since turned against their creators, and a variety of secret experiments have led to accidental creation of terrifying mutants. These creatures and huge machines now stand in the way of you completing your own secret mission. So yeah, again, coming out February 21st, 2023. The game itself seems interesting, but I agree with you, Josh. It's that super speedy uh gameplay footage is not the best. I don't know who constructed this trailer and thought that was a good idea, but this ain't it, chief.
All right, what do we have next?
Next, next up we have uh Sony revealing the PlayStation VR 2 uh release date, the price, the bundle, and some new games. So let's go ahead and check that out. Uh, so Sony's next gen VR headset is arriving in quarter 1 of 2023. There is a big bundle that'll be available for purchase on February 22nd, 2023, starting at $549.99. Every purchase includes a PSVR 2 headset, a new pair of new and improved PS VR 2 Sense controllers, and stereo headphones. They're also offering a second bundle for $599.99 that includes all of the aforementioned stuff, as well as a PS Store voucher code for Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is a original VR experience set in the Horizon Zero Dawn universe. Uh, the company will be offering PS VR2 Sense controller charging station and an additional $50. The device will allow you to charge your touch controllers without having to connect to your PS5 console, freeing up the USB ports for other uses. Um, so it'll be available to pre-order here in the States, the UK, France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg over on PlayStation's online store starting on November 15th. You can also register for an invite to pre-order it uh, from I guess now, as of like a few days ago or as of last week probably. But anyway, yeah, that's some there's your PS VR 2 news on that.
It is really expensive. Like that is that is so expensive.
I mean, it's more than the console, right? It's more than the PS5. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have a PS5, so I don't know how much I forget how much it costs, but Yeah, I think it's more than
It is more, and VR will never take off as long as it's going to cost this kind of money. Like, on top of needing the console, if you want it, you've got to buy the VR if you want it, and you're into the fucking damn close to $1,000, if you want to get into it, and that's so. At that point, you'd almost be better off to buy the Valve Index, which is a really cool VR system for like Steam shit, right? When you get like the really neat finger controllers and all that. It's like, God, that's so expensive. Like, I couldn't see myself dropping that kind of money on top of needing a PS5 to get into VR, especially when VR games, there's not even a lot of them out
they're not
there.
at the level yet, I feel like,
You're right.
you know?
And the only reason I even have the VR that's back there is because, the kid was like, wanted it. And that's why my nephew, and like, I bailed him out. I bought it off of him because, wouldn't work on his PC. Hey, but it works on mine. And it's like, I just can't see it. I can't see dropping that kind of money on it. I don't think it even should be that kind of money. Like, you need to find a way to make that shit cheaper because you're not going to make a profit on it until you find a way to make it cheaper for the people, for the vast majority of people. In this day and age with inflation and everything, I'll get a little politicky, but like, with the way everything, how expensive everything is nowadays, it's hard to justify dropping $500-600 on a VR, man. Like, it's hard
Yeah.
enough to survive as it is. There needs to be a better way. Like, ugh. Anyway, that's kind of what my thoughts on it are. It's just so expensive.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I don't really have much interest in VR as of right now, as it stands. Like I said, there isn't really for me a whole lot of. I don't think VR is at that level yet, where I'm like, man, this is like sometimes it looks cool, but then it's like I don't. Is it really worth like me playing a game for like an hour and then being like, all right, that was cool, but kind of over it,
Right.
you know?
No,
Like,
I agree.
nah, dude. But yeah, that's that. And then yeah, like you said with the PSVR stuff, like you need a PS5 and then you need to get all that on top of that. Nah, dude, I don't even have a PS5 yet. And to be honest, I don't even know if I'm gonna get one because like they're just the big reason of like for me, I was always a PlayStation guy, but like there was because they had the only place you could play certain games was on there, right? But nowadays it's like you don't you don't really there's not much of that anymore. Like the console wars and like games being exclusive aren't really a thing. Like they're exclusive for like at most maybe a few years, right? And then eventually it seems like they're bringing most everything over to PC.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep doing that, I'll be fine. And then just shit's
I
like
want
you
more of
said,
this.
and like you
I
said,
want
shit's
this support on
expensive, dude.
PC.
Like like
Yeah.
like I gotta buy fucking all this other crap. Like, nah, dude. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life is expensive, dude.
It
So
is.
it's like it's
So is death. You know how much it costs to bury you? It's so expensive. It's fucking awful. You can't live or die in this world without it costing somebody a penny. Ugh.
that's some bullshit, man. That right there is some bullshit. Can't even die without it costing too much either. Anyway, we're
Let's move
that's
on.
a
This is
that's a that's a
depressing.
whole other topic. Anyway, let's talk about the Marvel's Midnight Suns. They had a little Ghost Rider showcase.
Yeah, let's check this out.
Uh, so let's see what they got here.
We've watched these a few times in the past,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
but I
have.
really wanted to see the Ghost Rider one because it's Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider and he's cool. So
Let's check it out. Three, two, one.
Well, we've made it to our 12th hero showcase, and we're going to deep dive into my personal favorite superhero on the roster. As always, this video is brought to you in partnership with Marvel and 2K. I want to start by sharing a quote from Avengers Volume 8, number 25. Everyone keeps telling me that I'm the worst Ghost Rider that ever lived. Like that's supposed to be some kind of insult. But what the hell have the Ghost Riders ever done? Except
If you look at old ass Johnny
they
Blaze.
love. Except die alone or go bat crazy. Well, that's not me, Uncle Eli. That's not how I'm going out. To hell with being a spirit of vengeance. I'm an Avenger. I feel like this perfectly sums up this week's hero, not just in terms of personality, but also ties in very nicely with his playstyle. By now it's obvious, but this week's hero is Robbie Reyes, aka Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider's playstyle is mostly focused on dealing major amounts of damage, but a lot of his cards have a trade-off that cost either his own health or cards in your hand. He also has his own souls meter to fill, and that encourages you to get knockouts with Ghost Rider himself. You'll also find that Ghost Rider operates best when he can spend a lot of heroism, so he'll pair best with heroes that generate heroism or have heals, since he'll be routinely damaging himself to fuel his damage output. Now, since Ghost Rider is my personal favorite, I'm going to take some liberties here, and I'm going to showcase more heroic abilities than usual. They're crazy strong, their animations are over the top, and their gameplay impacts are heavenly. Or should I say, heavenly. No, probably not. We'll start with one of his skills called Immolate that doesn't have a trade-off of health or cards, but it does act as a great setup for follow-up attacks. Immolate makes it so that enemies KO'd by Ghost Rider for the next 2 turns
Fire breath.
God damn.
and explode in an AoE around them for extra damage.
Damn.
Doubled,
Okay.
and I'd like to point out here that it's generating above
Oh
average
shit,
arrows
everybody
as
died.
well, something that Ghost Rider will absolutely utilize later in the
What
fight.
the fuck?
Earlier I mentioned that you'll want to get KOs with Ghost Rider to build his souls meter, so let's explain a little bit about how that's going to work. Each knockout will increase his souls meter by 1 block. Once it's full, you'll automatically draw a Drain Soul card. Now, Drain Soul cards have Chain 2, they're lifesteal cards, and they have this hellish stacking capability. Each time a Drain Soul card is played, it'll give all Drain Soul cards an extra chain attack, but it's also going to increase the heroism cost requirement too. The idea here is to get as many knockouts as possible with Ghost Rider, keep filling that meter, keep buffing Drain Soul, and soon you'll be chaining every enemy across the map while keeping your health up with lifesteal. This can also be buffed with Hunter Friendship levels. At level 1, filling the souls meter will buff Ghost Rider's health by 15%, and at level 2, it's going to reduce the number of souls required to fill the meter by 1. Now keep in mind, you can only trigger the health buff twice per battle, so plan accordingly. Okay, it's heroics time. Now here's one of the cards that does have a big health trade-off for Ghost Rider. Judgment is going to consume 25% of Ghost Rider's current health, and it's going to damage an enemy and everything nearby at a rate of 2 damage for every health that you traded. So keep in mind with some of the previous things we've already discussed, as his health goes
These
higher,
like
you have
fire,
more health
like
to
breath
trade
attacks
for
are
cards
explosive
like
as
this.
shit.
The upgrade
Man.
for this card is nice because it makes your positioning decisions a little bit easier. Instead of hitting everything with the nearby damage, it will only impact enemies. This next heroic card could easily have been a Midnight Sun's golden heroic ability, in my opinion. But for Ghost Rider, I guess everything he does is awesome. Hellride is just one ability that stuck with me from the early preview event I did many months back, just for how over the top it is. When casting Hellride, Ghost Rider's gonna summon his ride from the depths, and he runs over every enemy in a line for major damage. The trade-off, however, it could hurt. After playing Hellride, your entire hand will be discarded. Obviously, get creative with your timing here, and it can be less of a problem or potentially no problem at all if it's the last card in your hand. The upgrade for Hellride is pretty nice too. It just gives you more damage, and you could get late game mods that add other status effects. In this case, you're seeing you can apply vulnerable to every enemy that you hit as well. Last but certainly not least is Ghost Rider's Midnight Sun's heroic ability. Penance Stare is similar in nature to Judgment. It's got a bunch of extra hellfire behind it. Penance Stare will consume 50% of Ghost Rider's health to target an enemy, and this time is going to deal 4 damage per health consumed. In addition, it's also going to fill your souls meter, granting you a Drain Soul card, of course, and we've already talked about how powerful those can become. But because of all of this,
Oh,
Pen and Stare
damn.
does have exhaust, so use it wisely. In an ideal scenario, when you're on empty souls. for
Jesus.
hellish efficiency.
Overkill. Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
it. That's
You
Ghost
don't
Rider.
fucking
We've
say
now covered
overkill.
all of the
It's like
announced
all
heroes
his
on the roster
moves are
for
just
Midnight
like nuclear
Suns. So
bombs.
who's
I
up
love
next?
it.
A lot of guesses flying around. You'll have to stay tuned to find out, but have no fear. We'll return with a 13th hero very soon, including details on how you'll unlock them. There's been a lot of juicy details dropped on the social channels about the Legendary Edition and the game's DLC, so check those out if you haven't already.
Dude, it's just like
Thanks again to
explosion after
Marvel 2K
explosion,
for working
man.
with me on this series. I've had a blast
So-
with it so far, and I can't wait to bring you the 13th
Look at that
hero
shit,
very
You
dude.
definitely
God
feel
damn.
like
Check
a
out the
Marvel
links down
hero.
below for
It
all
seems
things Marvel's
like.
Midnight Suns, and we will see you again shortly. Cue the Hulk scream.
November 2nd.
Well. You gonna pre-order and get that Defender Strange skin or no?
I don't know. I don't usually do the pre-order thing too much. Maybe. We'll see. I am gonna get this game.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I know you're gonna get it anyway, and like, Defender Strange skin, fuck it.
I in the pre-order. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, he seems very very OP, Ghost Rider.
Hmm.
All right, what do we got next, Josh?
We have a Evil West co-op gameplay trailer.
Oh shit, I do want to see this because this is a game I'm very excited
So
about.
I put this in here because I was like, you know what? We were high on this last week. So we gonna get high on it again this week with a new trailer for the co-op.
Yes. Oh shit.
Okay. Did you hear that?
The hell was that? I did. What the hell was that?
It's construction workers.
Okay, I'm like, is that a firework? What's going on over there?
It's what it sounded like. There it goes again. It's somebody's
Yep.
brakes. It's the brakes on one of the things. Anyway, let's
Okay.
continue on. I'll mute the microphone.
No, you're good. I was just like, what the hell? All right. 3-minute co-op gameplay trailer. Like I said, I'm very excited for this. Watched a video on it last week, so let's see what they got here today. 3, 2, 1, go. Flying Wild Hog, Focus Entertainment.
Goddamn, this looks fun already.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Tomasz Gop. I'm a lead producer at Flying Wild Hog working on Evil West, and today we're stoked to give you a first look at the game's cooperative multiplayer. We have designed our game to be an exciting, old-school, gore-smashing, vampire-slashing, single-player action first and foremost. Still, if you want to enjoy the entire campaign with your friend, our 2-person online co-op has got you covered. Evil West's co-op is simple and straightforward, so both players play as Jesse and only the host progresses the storyline. On the other hand, the challenge grows and some encounters have a slightly different enemy composition to spice
So you both play the same character and only the host
Alright,
story
agents,
progresses.
the entire Flying Wild Hog team wishes you a splendiferous trip to the Weird West. Enjoy the gameplay.
Splendiferous. What the fuck? Just imagine like wailing on one enemy, like both of you, just beating. Look at that, like right here, like
that.
right there, just beating the dog shit out of a singular enemy. Nice.
Man, that game looks fun.
It
That
does.
looks fun.
I want to play the shit out of that game. That looks really, really cool. Yeah, that was really dope. Very excited for that game. Very, very excited. It's coming out pretty soon, I think, right?
In November, it says. I don't know if it's got a
Yeah,
date thing. Does it?
this month. I think last time or last week when we were talking about it, it had a release date, November 22nd. Yeah.
November 22nd, yeah. So at the end of the month,
Yeah.
add it to the
Cool.
list.
Shit, that's been on my list, man. I want to play the fuck out of that game. All right, that was cool. What do we have next? Ah, yes. So today's on 7 days, so we got a little bit of something from BioWare on next Mass Effect. Um, so they, I guess BioWare tweeted out like an image, or not even an image. It's like a video, huh?
Like a little video,
It's
yeah.
it's
Let me get that.
it's a little like 25-second video. That they want people to, investigate and examine and super like, you know, look into. So if you want to check that out, 25 seconds, let's do it.
Let's do it. I
3,
got it.
2, 1, go. Hmm. That's all it is. Just a little,
It's a fucking
little
little ass
teaser.
tease, is what it is, little
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
You can kind of see certain things if you
I'm
look
going to
at
the
it.
Mass Effect Reddit right now. I'm gonna
There's a
see what they got over here.
there's a MR7 that you can see. Uh, there's just what are we even like looking at here? Is it like a relay or what? Like what is this?
So yeah. So people are saying, I'm looking at the Reddit here, so I'm not. First of all, someone has supposedly decoded the noise from the teaser. And apparently it
Oh,
says a
okay.
thing that we'll play on stream for you guys in a second. But first of all, people think the MR stands for Mass Relay. Mass
Okay.
Relay 7. So we're getting mass relays.
Okay. Well, cool. So I mean that's what it looked like to me at least. That it was just like a
Mhm.
giant mass relay. But anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
Here is the
Exactly.
Here is the. I'm gonna send you this, and we'll play it together at the same time, DT. And
Okay.
let me open it as well. I think you have to pause it immediately because it's fucking SoundCloud and it wants to play everything immediately. So
All right. Okay. When you're
I'm
ready.
I am at the
Let's-
start. Let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Exactly. The council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate instinctively. How did we miss this? Was the most endearing. Exactly. The council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. It was the most endearing. Instinctively. How did we miss this? Exactly. The council will be furious.
So the council will be furious.
Yeah, it's
Does
there's
that-
definitely some
does that
guest
to you
sounds. There's some guest sounds
Sound
in there.
like yeah, there was. But I was gonna say though, does the lady talking sound like Liara to you?
Oh, that's straight up Liara. Absolutely.
Because I'm like, that sounds like her to me.
So in the
which
Reddit
is
thread, if this is
interesting.
true, if this is actually like a decoded thing, which I have no reason to doubt that it
Which,
is.
by the way, how the fuck do people decode this shit anyway? Is what I want to know. But that's a whole other thing. I
I have
guess.
no
Continue.
fucking clue. But it sounds like exactly the council will be furious, although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. So that sounds like what Liara is saying. If which apparently that this is the legit decoded dealio from what I've seen here. So just another mystery on top of a mystery for something that we're not gonna understand for fucking years at this point. You know,
Yeah.
like straight up. Like, cause the next thing's gonna be Dragon Age, right? Like that's probably what we'll get a trailer for at the Game Awards, but like what if they did drop another little teaser at the Game Awards for Mass Effect? It wouldn't be the first time they've
I
done it.
no. I would love it. I would love to see that, dude. Like just thinking about it, like gets me excited because man, I'm very very curious.
I mean, hearing Liara talk immediately got chills all over the bod. You know, like all over the like the goose flesh and all the tingly feelings. You know, like so. I'm really curious to where they're gonna go next. You know, like straight up.
Yeah, it's that's very interesting though. I obviously we kind of knew that based off the official teaser that they showed us however long ago that was already, like last year or 2 years ago or however long. That one kind of had Liara in it at the end, right? So it makes sense that she's back and around
Hmm.
still. Um, but yeah,
But
very,
like
very.
the big unanswered question is I okay, never mind. I shouldn't. It'd be spoilers. It'd be spoilers. It'd be spoilers. It'd be
I know, I
spoilers.
know, I know what you're about to ask, and I think,
Yeah.
I think yes, I think yes.
They're
It,
gonna have to
it,
pick
it,
a. They're gonna have to pick a canon ending because there's multiple endings, guys. That's not a spoiler.
that's true.
But they're gonna
That's
have to
true.
pick one, and it seems
Yeah,
like
they
they're
are
gonna
gonna have
pick
to.
the one that the vast majority of people went with. It seems like like they might be doing it like XCOM 2 style. You know, when XCOM first came out, the original XCOM, people failed at that game. They failed at that game so much that when they decided to make a sequel, the sequel is that you lost in the first game. That's the sequel. Like that's where it picks up at. It's like you lost in XCOM, the original XCOM, and the aliens have taken over now, and it's not good. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they do with this. They pick the ending that got picked the most. Like I'm sure they probably have the statistics of that somewhere. Um,
Yeah, I think they do. I remember
um,
when they came out with the Legendary Edition last year, they had like all the stats of all that shit everybody did. So they'll probably, if I had to guess, go off of that. You know.
yeah.
Um, but
They
yeah,
have to pick an
that's
ending. There's
very
no way you can
interesting,
do a
intriguing.
sequel and not have an ending picked, right? Especially how that is. So they have to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I would be. It has to be. I wouldn't believe it any other way. Like I'm putting my money on it, right? So that's exciting. Like that'll hold us over, I guess, till next in 7 day or whenever we get another teaser for Mass Effect, whenever that might be. Maybe the Game Awards will throw something in there. That would be cool. I'm not saying it is. In fact, I wouldn't expect it to be there at all. Like, but you never know. You don't get your hopes up, but don't be surprised. Cool. All right,
All
DT.
right.
What do
Cool.
we
Yeah.
what do we got next?
It's an interesting, very little tease, and I'm sure, and it's only a thing today, so I'm sure it'll people will keep finding stuff from that. I'm sure of it, but because even Michael Gamble, who is a project director at BioWare, you know, subtweet or like he tweeted retweeted that there are so many things for you to find in this. Good luck, investigators. We'll see what these investigators discover here.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about it on the podcast if it's worthy of it. Like if it's something big.
Yeah, yes, sir. next up, we have some PC gaming show news. The PC gaming show will happen again in November, and now it's never not. So, the PC gaming show, an independent showcase of computer games, has hovered around the vicinity of E3's June date since it started in 2015. We'll kick off a second annual event on November 17th as the video game industry's hype cycle progressively expands to take over the entire annual calendar. The new event is billed as 2023 preview, highlighting the most exciting games heading to the PC platform next year and beyond. It'll be presented by regular gaming show host Frankie Ward and streamed on YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. The showcase will be sponsored by Intel and feature, among other things, a look at Kerbal Space Program 2, a new game from Armello Studio of Geeks, noir detective game Shadows of Doubt, a World War One strategy game, The Great War Western Front, amongst other things. They're sponsored by PlayOn, who was formerly known as Koch Media, Sega Frontier, and Avalanche Studios. So we'll probably see titles from those companies as well. But yeah, the move to run a second showcase later in the year mirrors the growth, the same growing, or the same growth as the gaming empire under Jeff Keighley, who established December's Game Awards as a major date in the gaming industry before launching Summer Game Fest as an E3 rival during the pandemic. In 2023, Summer Game Fest will launch its first-person event for the public, while E3 proper returns in a new show, while with both media and public days, which we've mentioned before. Uh, and obviously, Nintendo, Sony, and EA have their own showcases throughout the year whenever they want to do that. So there isn't really like, you know, it's not like it was like 10 years ago or more, or 15 years ago when we'd have E3 and everybody's at E3 and you wait for everything that they have. Nowadays, we have gaming news all the fucking time. Like I said, EA has their own thing, Sony has their own thing, Nintendo has their own thing. Everybody like does what they want when they want now. So it's not how it used to be, which like I think is really cool that we have all that now, but I also kind of miss the days of like, waiting for E3 and waiting on all the on that whole thing, right? Like we mentioned it a lot here on the podcast that like I used to watch and Josh as well used to
Mhm.
watch fucking, G4 and watch E3 and all that shit. So,
Waking up
it
early to
was
get so you can watch all the conferences, right? Like you wanted to
yeah, it
make sure
was
you didn't
good
oversleep
times,
and miss
man.
it. So yeah. So part of me misses it too, man.
Yeah.
I miss, I'm sure the actual game devs and stuff probably aren't as like, whoo, we
Yeah.
gotta have something ready for E3. But man, as an audience, as the people that watched, it was always so exciting. Like, what are they gonna show? What's the next? Are they gonna show new hardware? Or are they gonna show what are they gonna show? Like, what surprises are gonna happen? And like the crowd reaction in the crowd would get you hyped. It's like, we come from like on YouTube, I watch reactions to things all the time. It's to kind of like capture that same kind of magic that you get from like the conferences that would happen, like the fucking the Keanu moment on stage, right? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yo,
breathtaking,
you're breathtaking. Yeah.
like that. Come on, you wouldn't get that shit without So like it's hard to be like I never want it again or anything like that. I definitely do. Like I want that. I want those moments. Those are great moments and like moments you don't forget. Like it became a whole thing. So
Mhm,
yeah, like it's I kind of miss that.
for sure. All right. Moving on from that, we have one last thing here for the gaming news for today. and that is Josh.
Yeah, we have. I threw it in here just because I saw it like when I was looking at Twitter during the show, so I threw it in here. It says Final Fantasy 16 will be, in quotes, exclusive to PS5 for 6 months. What that means for PC and Xbox isn't clear yet. So I have an article from Polygon. It says the next mainline Final Fantasy game will be a PS5 exclusive for 6 months, according to a new ad for Sony's current gen console. Final Fantasy 16 has always been pitched as being tied to some sort of PlayStation exclusivity, despite being initially confirmed for PC as well. But Sony's new promo for the PS5 makes it explicit, letting players on other platforms know how long they'll have to dodge spoilers for the game. What's unclear about Final Fantasy XVI's exclusivity is which platforms that designation applies to. Elsewhere in the same ad, another Square Enix published game, Forspoken, is described as a PS5 exclusive until January 23rd, 2025, 2 years after the game launches on both PS5 and PC. Does that mean Final Fantasy 16 is simply console exclusive during the first 6 months and that an Xbox version is due sometime in early 2024? It's unclear, so Polygon has reached out on both Square Enix and Sony for clarity, and it will update when the company responds. Further muddling of the PS5 exclusivity of Final Fantasy 16, the Square Enix track record for previous RPG exclusives. The publisher's Final Fantasy VII Remake was initially exclusive to PS4 when it was released in 2020. A year later, the remake came to PC, initially only for the Epic Game Store, though. In PS5, with Square Enix Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrated Expanded released. Yet no such exclusivity applies to another sizable Final Fantasy project, Crisis Core FF7 Reunion. Yeah. Basically, what it's saying is we don't know if this is going to come out on PC at the same time as it's going to come out on PS5. Hopefully, I personally hope it does come out on PC at the same time as PS5, but it's probably going to end up having to wait because it just feels that way it always happens with like Japanese RPG releases. It's like you almost always end up having to wait. So
Well, I mean, for you though, you have a PS5, so you
do.
could get it on PS5
I
if
do,
you wanted
but
to.
I would rather play it on the PC because, I mean, let's just be real, the PC is stronger than the PS5. Like, it always ultimately will be. Like, the only reason I got the PS5, other than, like, exclusives that will never come to PC, like if this comes to PC, right, it's gonna come, and it's gonna come to PC, I don't want to get it for the PS5. I want to get it for the PC. The PlayStation should, like, I bought it for anything that would be, like, exclusive and for this, the controller. So, like, I don't know. I don't want it to necessarily not come to PC at the same time. Because, man, and I'm saying this not necessarily just for myself, but for the world at large that wants to play it. Having to dodge spoilers for 6 months in this day and age of social media, YouTube, Twitter, the whole deal, is so hard to dodge spoilers for everything. I got spoiled on Black Adam before the movie was even out. Really. Like, because of people that went to the premiere. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be me with Ragnarok here with God of War in a couple weeks. Or actually, no, not a couple weeks. Like, very soon. Like,
that too.
Like, this week. Like, I'm going to happen to be dodging spoilers left and right for that because I'm not going to be able to play that.
There's already spoilers
right
out there for that because of game stores that released the game early before they should have. Like, it's insane. Anyway.
Definitely a lot of that going on. But that is our gaming news for the week.
It is.
So we can go ahead and move on to the TV news if you're ready.
I'm ready. We have transitioned over to TV news. What do we have up first?
Cool. So, first thing we got for the TV news is that we have a premiere date for The Last of Us on HBO Max.
We do.
The official HBO Last of Us account tweeted out that The Last of Us will be premiering on January 15th. So we are like 2 months away, dude, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'll be honest with you, this show is coming out a lot sooner than I thought it was going to come out. I did not expect it to come out so early. Like 2 months away, like that is I thought it was gonna be like maybe a spring or summertime show, like, to be honest with you. But the fact that it's like beginning of the month, that's nuts, dude. I literally was not expecting that, but that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I will be checking this out. We will be talking about it.
I'll be
We'll
watching it.
probably be we'll probably be doing an episode on it, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so yeah, keep an eye out on that. That's coming on January 15th. Pretty cool. Again, I've played the game. Josh has not, so that'll be a fun experience with having someone who will have only seen the show and not play the game, and then having someone who has played the game and will be watching the show as well. So you'll have both points of view if you watch our
It's true.
episode on that when that comes out. So be good stuff. Um, but yeah, we have some WandaVision spinoff news. Agatha Coven of Chaos has cast Aubrey Plaza. She'll be joining Catherine Hahn in the Disney Plus series. Uh, we are not sure who she's going to be playing, but she's going to be joining the show along with a couple other actors and actresses. Also joining is Ali An and Maria Dizia, uh, as well as Joe Locke, all joining the cast of Agatha Coven of Chaos. There's been a lot of casting news for that lately, so again, we don't really know who they'll be playing, but they will be joining the show. Um, so that's cool. This show's starting to pick up a little bit more, you know, steam as to who they're going to be having involved and all that stuff. So yes. Uh, next up, talk about the Sandman. It's getting a second season over at Netflix. I will be honest with you all, and I have not even watched the first season yet. So I don't know if I have really no thoughts on this, other than I guess it's cool that it did well enough that it's getting a second season.
It's set up for a second
Uh,
season as well.
oh,
To a
is it
degree.
okay?
Yeah,
Well, that makes
because I,
sense.
I I watched all of
Uh,
it. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, well, cool then. Definitely not gonna be a situation of like, oh man, they set it up and they not doing it. So
Mhm.
that's good. Hopefully they'll allow this show to go its full plan and uh continue its story all the way to the end. Unlike another show that we're about to be talking about here pretty soon. But anyway, do you got any thoughts on this, Josh? I like I said, I really don't
Uh,
have much to say on this because I haven't seen it, but I think it's cool that they're doing it. I think what's his name, Neil Gaiman, like, tweeted it out, right? They're like, oh, we're getting a second season or something, right? But yeah, first
uh,
first season had 10 episodes based on the first 16 issues of the comic, out of the 75 in total. So depending on how they do season 2, if they also do another 10 episodes and how many issues they do off of that, they could probably uh do a couple seasons of the or several seasons of the show, if they want to adapt all 75 issues. But yeah, like I said, I honestly have not seen the show. I haven't read the comic. I don't know too much about this character or the story or anything like that. So I don't have much to contribute on this one. Yeah, Josh, you got anything else before we continue?
nah, I'm good to keep going.
All right. So as I was saying, hope hopefully this show gets to tell their whole story because HBO is not letting Westworld complete their 5 season plan because Westworld has been canceled. Uh, it's finishing up after its recent 4th season. Despite the creators hoping for a 5th and final season to wrap things up. Uh, Last month, co-creator Jonathan Nolan said in an interview that he hoped HBO would give the series a 5th season to wrap up the show's ambitious story, which has chronicled a robot uprising that changed the fate of humanity. We always planned for a 5th and final season, he said. We are still in conversations with the network. We very much hope to make them. Co-creator Lisa Joy likewise said the series has been working toward a specific ending. Jonah and I have always had an ending in mind that we hope to reach. We have not quite reached it yet. Um, but it looks like ratings for the series fell off sharply for its 3rd season, and then they dropped even further for season 4. Uh, the critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes also declined from the mid 80s on the first 2 seasons to the mid 70s for the latter 2. And there was a lot of talk that people, like fans and stuff, had the show become incredibly confusing and lacked characters to root for, apparently. Um, and this is all, in the midst of Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, pledging towards aggressive cost cutting, saving money like they did with, cutting off Batgirl completely and all that stuff. So, uh, yeah, it's just kind of weird because, you know, uh, they typically like to give major show creators time to, end their show, right? Um, like to try to prevent another Deadwood, because remember that whole thing.
Yeah.
They literally took like what 13 years to complete that show. From the end of the show to the movie, it's some crazy like that. Um, but yeah, it's now that's the ending for now. I suppose is the end of season
Yeah.
4, which I like I said when we did our review or when we did our episode on Westworld season 4. I said in that I was like, well, I could see this being an ending of this is where they're gonna end it. But I think this is me speaking here. If you're gonna have a show where if you're gonna have the show where you have the creators of it have a plan from start to finish and they know what they're gonna do, let them fucking finish it. Like there was it's not like they had like 2, 3 more seasons to go. They literally had 1 more season. Just let them fucking finish the show. Like, they know exactly where they wanna go and take these characters and end it all. Just let them fucking do it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that seems, like, just weird that you're just gonna, like, cut them off like that, you know? And then I did hear from somewhere or something that, Lisa Joy was kinda planning on, like, revealing the ending if, they don't get a 5th season, so we'll see how that goes, but HBO also put out a statement and said, over the past 4 seasons, Lisa and Jonathan have taken viewers on a mind bending odyssey, raising the bar at every step. We are tremendously grateful to them, along with their immensely talented cast, producers, and crew, and all of our partners at Kilter Films, Bad Robot, and Warner Bros. Television. It's been a thrill to join them on this journey. Kilter Films put out a statement saying, making Westworld has been one of the highlights of our careers. We are deeply grateful to our extraordinary cast and crew for creating these indelible characters and brilliant worlds. We've been privileged to tell these stories about the future of consciousness, both human and beyond, in the brief window of time before our AI overloads forbid us from doing so. Uh, so yeah, I guess like I said with Deadwood, if that's anything to go off of, maybe they'll eventually finish Westworld in the future, like they did with that. But I don't know. For now, this is all we're getting. So
Yeah.
what do you think, Josh?
Well, obviously, I wanted the next season. Now, I felt like season 4 kind of got me interested back in it, got back on track a little bit. I can understand the fall off of season 3 wasn't my favorite either, but I liked 4, and I was really looking forward to 5 to see how they kind of ended everything. It's what another thing that's crazy is like the core cast is still going to be paid for season 5, even though it's been canceled. Like that
Yeah,
is out there. Like they had
Yeah.
player pay deals, so they're still losing money because they have to pay the actors. So that's like even more mind blowing to me. Like you're just gonna pay them to stay at home when we could have gotten to season 5 and seen how it all wrapped up. That was gonna be the end, man.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. I bet the
I'm
cast is
sad.
like, well, that sucks. We're not gonna get to finish it, but let me wipe my tears with this money right here.
Yeah, these hundies.
Right? Man.
Aaron Paul was so good
Yeah.
last season too. Man, man, I wanted to see how it ended. I hope we get a write up. Maybe we'll get a little novel or a book or something. Who knows? I want to know how it ends.
Maybe.
Like, I want to
I
know
mean,
what they had planned for it to end. Like, season 4 obviously could have ended, but I would like to know what their plan was for the ending.
their planned one, yeah. Maybe we'll get it at some point. Who knows? In one way or another, we'll
One
maybe find
way
out.
or another. What do we got next, DT? Because I don't
Na,
have
na,
anything
na,
else to
na,
say on
na.
that.
Na, 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 na. Next thing is that we have a the title of episode 1 from the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. So look at that, another show that has a 5th and final season. What? Man.
It's actually getting an ending. Netflix didn't cancel it. I'll be damned.
So yeah,
There it is.
they put out a image showing like the script. Stranger Things 5, episode 501, chapter 1, The Crawl is what it's going to be called by the Duffer Brothers. Um the highly anticipated final season of Stranger Things has fans on the edge, and the Duffer Brothers have promised not to add too many new characters and focus on the established core cast. Uh which I think is a good thing. They should have been doing that already instead of introducing a new character every season that people like and then kill them off. You know, it's like like why do that? Like kill off some of your OG characters if you're gonna do that, or focus on them a bit more. You know. But anyway, I could go off on a whole tangent about that, so I'm not gonna do that. But uh, so Matt Duffer talking to IndieWire said, "I just like shaking it up. So we shake it up by changing the plot or adding in a new monster. We're doing our best to resist adding new characters for season 5. We're trying not to do that so we can focus on the OG characters, I guess." Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of info on season 5. We have the title of the first episode now due to the little script page picture there. Um, yeah, I haven't been the biggest fan. I wasn't the biggest fan of season 4 personally. I know a lot of people really liked it and whatever, but I wasn't a big fan of it. There was some characters I didn't really like either and all that, but it was fine. But I don't think that there needs to be like I don't think your last couple episodes of the show need to be longer than movies. You know what I mean? Like it's completely unnecessary, and you need to like just yeah focus on the OG characters a bit more and all that. But anyway, we've talked about that already. I forget what episode. I don't know. I don't think we actually made an episode off of that, right? We just kind of talked about it in another one. But yeah, honestly though, I'm really hoping that season 5, this final season, is gonna like get me back, like gonna make me feel what I felt during like the first and third season, because those are my two favorite seasons of the show, seasons 1 and 3. So I'm hoping it gets back to that for me personally, as opposed to like, where I thought 4 was kind of okay and 2 was like also okay, but But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. See what happens with that. The last thing that I have here for the TV news is that we have the cast for Star Wars Acolyte revealed. So we have uh an announcement that was brought to us today. Uh, Monday, the Leslie Headland Disney Plus original series will take fans to the High Republic era. So, joining joining the previously announced cast of Amanda Stenberg and Lee Jung Jae, Manny Jacinto, Daphne Keene, Jodie Turner-Smith, Rebecca Henderson, Charlie Barnett, Dean Charles Chapman, and Carrie Ann Moss are all going to be in Star Wars: The Acolyte. There's also a picture below the cast, behind the scenes, with Amandla Lee and Lee Jung Jae and Leslie Headland over in a little BTS photo there. I like this shirt that Amandla has on. It's like the Star Wars Visions anime Boba Fett t-shirt. I'm like, that's cool. Uh, but yeah, The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into the galaxy of a shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. The High Republic saw the Jedi Order at its prime centuries prior to the events of the Phantom Menace. So there's a little bit of backstory information on that. I am very excited for this show. I cannot wait to see this when it comes out next year. I think the cast is awesome. I think the era that we're in is fucking awesome. The story synopsis there is fucking cool. So I'm all about this. I can't wait, dude. This is one of my
Yeah.
most anticipated shows coming up next year for sure. And I just think like look at this cat like Carrie Ann Moss in Star Wars, bro. That's gonna be sick, dude. I'm fucking hype about
And
that. And
fucking
they even
Trinity's
got
gonna be doing fucking kicks and shit. Be cool.
I mean that'd be nuts. They got fucking Daphne Keene, who was X-23 from Logan. They got fucking Dean Charles Chapman, who people may recognize as Tommen from Game of Thrones and the homie from 1917, you know? Like that's cool, man. This is a cool cast, bro. Like I'm very, very, very intrigued about, you
Yeah,
know,
I'm super
where
interested
we're
in it,
going with
right?
this.
Like, and I'm curious to like how dark it's gonna be because I feel like this kind of show might end up being dark, like kind of
It could be, yeah. I mean,
like
it's
at least
called
from
the
the title,
Acolyte, right?
exactly right. Like we're dealing with dark side shit, right? Like it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hmm. There's some things I want to say, but some things I don't want to say because I was like I want to because obviously we're going to talk about Andor on an episode in the future, but Andor is pretty fucking different from what we've seen
Yeah.
previously. But I'm just kind of curious: is this going to be kind of like not necessarily like Andor, but like kind of take a little step from Star Wars as we know it into like a little bit of a different direction, a little bit, you know? Like I'm curious, so I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this show.
Yeah, I am
To
too.
check
I
out.
can't wait. I'm looking forward to the first trailer, you know? I
Hmm.
wanna see the High Republic vibe of what we're going with. I just I'm very excited for this. 2023 is gonna bring us a lot of good stuff. Yes, just speaking of Star Wars terms, we're getting Bad Batch season 2 to start off the year. We're getting Mando season 3 in February. We're getting Ahsoka, we're getting the Acolyte, like just that's just Star Wars stuff that we're getting next year. So I'm very excited, you know, like it's gonna be hype. But that'll do it for our TV news. If you got nothing else to add in, Josh,
I
that
do
will do
not.
it. All
Let's
right.
move into the movie.
Movie news time. It is. Let's go ahead and do that then. Uh cool. So first thing we have here is we have a official trailer for Avatar: The Way of Water. I haven't seen this. I
I haven't
s-
either.
was saving it for the podcast. Uh so yeah, I have not seen it. We're about to check it out right now.
Build it up.
So if you're ready, okay, let me know when
2
you're
seconds.
good and we can play the trailer. It is
I'm
2
ready.
minutes and 28 seconds. So let's check it out. 3, 2, 1, go.
think I'm crazy.
That's behind those big rocks.
But I feel her. I hear her heartbeat. She's so close.
So what does her heartbeat sound like?
Mighty.
We cannot let you bring your war here.
Outcast. That's all they see.
I see you.
The way of water connects all things. Before your birth and after your death.
This is our home!
I need you with me. And I need you to be strong. Strong heart.
There it is, Avatar: The Way of Water, in theaters December 16th. So I will say that for me, that doesn't really do much for me. I don't know. Like I also haven't seen the first movie in like probably since it came out, to be honest with you. So I'm not like the biggest fan. I don't think it's a terrible movie from what I remember. I thought it was just fine. Like I think the reason why it was such a big deal is because it was like it was like a big 3D movie, so it's like, "Oh, you gotta go watch it in 3D and all that," right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like 3D, like, as somebody who wears glasses, I don't wanna put glasses on top of my glasses, that's stupid? Um, so I never watched it in 3D, so I don't know what that was like, but I did watch the movie eventually, around when it came out, I think, or maybe sometime after, I don't remember exactly when, but it's been years since I've seen it. This trailer, I mean, I don't know, dude, it's like, I don't think it looks terrible, but, like, it doesn't, like, excite me or, like, it doesn't give me anything for me to, like, get hype about? It's just like, "Alright, here's another Avatar movie." And I mean, to be honest with you, I'll check it out just because 'cause I'm curious?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it doesn't like I said, it doesn't excite me or make me hype or there was nothing in that I'm like, "Oh, man, that looks cool, and I need to see that," or, "I wanna see that?" It's just like I don't even it's been so long since I've seen the first movie that I don't even remember what the fuck is going on or what happened, or I don't even know the name. Like, I remember the names of some of the characters, but not all of them. And, like, how like, in universe, how much time has passed from the second movie or from the first to the second? Because like, in real life, it's been, 2009 to 2022, so it's been a very long time in real life. But, like, in universe, how long has it been? Who knows? So I just I basically have a lot of questions, and yeah, there isn't really a lot that I'm like that gets me like hype or excited or anything. But what say you, Josh?
I think it's very pretty. Like, I mean, the technology looks like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
CG and all that.
Yeah.
Like, all that's very pretty. But like the story and all that, like, it's an Avatar movie. Like, I'm not super hype or anything. I'll probably go see it. Like, it looks. I like getting to go to the movies and stuff nowadays. But it's not like I'm not hyped for it. Like it's not Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever levels of hype for me, which is what I'm going to be seeing, soon. Like, which I can't wait to go see. But like Avatar, I like that first movie. I think it's a fine movie. It's enjoyable. It's got its moments, and there's always world building tips to be learned from those types of things. But yeah, I'm not super hyped for it or anything. I'm not like a massive fan of the franchise. Like, oh god, I can't wait or anything. Like, it's not like that at all. I would have been fine if that first movie was the only movie they ever had, and now we're gonna get 500 of these things apparently. So, yeah, that's kind of what I think about it. It's fine. It's whatever.
Which is funny because I think I read somewhere like I want to say it was either yesterday or maybe earlier today even that James Cameron was like ready to end the franchise after the third one if they don't do well, you know?
Mm.
Because I think their plan was to make like 5 or like at least like another 4 or 5 of these movies. But if they don't do well, like, you know, in theaters and stuff, I think like after the third one, they can just. I think he's like, we can just end it here, you know.
In this
So
trailer, it
we'll
looks like
see.
there's time jumps. Like it looks like there's quite a few time jumps in here because it feels like characters
Yeah,
age.
there's
As
like
I was
yeah,
watching the trailer,
they're
so
and I was
so
thinking that too because like there
mhm.
looks like there's like children and shit. So I was like, okay, well, you know, that's why I was asking. Like, I wonder how
so
much time has passed, you know?
like by the time it seems like by the time they would get to a third or fourth movie, you would have almost a completely new cast of characters if they kept doing time jumps and stuff too. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'll probably end up checking it out. I'm sure it's fine. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I will check out the second one for sure, and then you know maybe the other ones after that. But
Oh, I'm gonna
yeah,
rewatch
for
the
sure.
first one before I go see it.
Yeah,
'Cause I haven't
that's
seen
what
it
I'm gonna
before.
do too. I'm gonna rewatch the first one because it's been years since I've seen it. But yeah, I'm not particularly like excited about it or hype about it or anything. It'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll check that out. You
Yeah.
know. And there's also a poster.
Oh yeah. Let's open that
Um,
poster.
you can throw that up too because they did put that out there as well. So it looks like top 2 are the main characters from the first movie, and then these bottom 2 are maybe like newer characters for this one. Uh, or maybe they weren't. I don't remember to be honest, but that's the way it looks like from to me at least. Uh, so maybe that's what that is, maybe not. But yeah, I mean, there's water, so they're going the way of the water. It looks like, and yeah, it's the blue people. So yeah, that looks like an Avatar movie poster for sure.
Yep. All right.
Moving on from that, we have another trailer. This is a Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I remember we checked out a trailer, a teaser for this like a while back. So let's go ahead and check this out now. On the count of 3, 2, 1, play.
Hello! Oh my god!
Crew, we've arrived. Disruptors have assembled.
Welcome, gang. We got a great weekend.
Who's that?
Benoit Blanc, the detective?
Mr. Bronx, I cannot overstate my gratitude to be here. When's the murder mystery start?
I've invited you all to my island
Hi!
because tonight a murder will be committed. My murder.
Once you're dead, will we still be able to talk to you?
Yeah, I'm not playing dead the whole weekend, dude.
This is truly delightful.
Across the island, I've hidden clues. You will have to closely observe each other. If anyone can name the killer, that person wins our game. Any questions?
Halle Berry, that has a kick.
Oh my god, what happened? Holy
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a murder, and the killer is in plain sight. For at least one person, this is not a game. I must insist that nobody touch the body.
Jeez, detective, who killed the party?
I need to find a motive for murder.
Everyone would stab a friend in the back to hold on to this rich bastard.
Deal with it.
Fucking Dave Bautista, dude.
Why would anyone commit murder
Are we even going to talk about the elephant in the room?
Am I the elephant?
Yeah, you're the elephant.
You're not that bad.
Think of the danger here.
Are you calling me dangerous?
Well, we'll see.
Let it all out.
Hell yeah!
This is reckless. The killer wouldn't hesitate to kill again if it covers their tracks.
You must be really great at Clue, huh?
I'm very bad at dumb things. Ticking boxes, running around, searching all the rooms. It's just a terrible, terrible game.
All right. So December is when it'll be coming out. They're doing also a special like sneak 1 week only theatrical sneak peek in on November 23rd, but it's coming out on December 23rd. So yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
It's got Kate Hudson in it. I love her. And Dave Bautista's in it. Love him. And Daniel Craig, he's great. Edward Norton's great. The cast is kind of
has
nuts, actually.
has a great cast. Yeah, I'm over here like Jessica Henwick. Yes. But no, yeah, the cast is pretty good. So yeah, we'll definitely check this one out. First one was solid, so we'll check this one out as well. Next up, what do we have here? Oh yes, we have this news. So
Oh, yeah.
Disney's live action Hercules will be more experimental and inspired by TikTok, says producer Joe Russo. Filmmakers Joe and Anthony Russo are clear that their dedication to their own independent studio, AGBO, means they don't plan to make another Marvel movie anytime soon. We won't be ready to do anything with Marvel until the end of the decade, Joe Russo says. They do, however, already have a return with Disney. Through AGBO, they're producing a live-action adaptation of Disney's 1997 animated feature, Hercules, with Guy Ritchie, who did the remake of Aladdin in 2019. Joe Russo says, we have an amazing relationship with them, and we've built over a decade. I think we have a point of view on how they can stretch the limits of their IP moving forward rather than playing IP management. Whereas many of Disney's recent live-action remakes have been faulted for sticking too closely to the source material, Russo says Hercules will be a little bit more experimental in tone and a little bit more experimental in execution. I think they're excited to see what we can all bring to it in a way that isn't just a reinterpretation of the animated film. Ritchie is currently working on his own pass of screenplay from David Callahan, who also did Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Guy is perfect for it because he has a penchant for experimentation, Russo says. Russo says the live-action Hercules will also be a musical and share the original's unconventional approach. There are many questions of how you translate it into a musical, Russo says. Audiences today have been trained by TikTok, right? What is their expectation of what a musical looks like and feels like? That can be a lot of fun and help us push the boundaries a little bit on how you execute a modern musical. So yeah, I know you're excited about this one, Josh. Do you want Hercules? One of our the original one of our favorites, one of our favorite Disney animated movies. So hearing this news, what are you thinking?
This sounds like hot garbage, is what it sounds like to me. Like, this is so fucking stupid. It's gonna be experimental. We're gonna be inspired by TikTok. It's a fucking Greek story. It's nothing. What? What does that even mean? I don't even know what the fuck that means. Explain to me what inspired by TikTok means for this fucking stupid fucking piece of shit that you're gonna make us watch. Like, I don't fucking get it. It's so stupid. It's Hercules. It's fucking Hercules. This is not the movie to experiment with. It's fucking Hercules. It's not hard. It's actually quite fucking easy to do Hercules. What the fuck are these guys smoking over there, and how can I get some? Because you have to be fucking nuts. You have to be nuts or high to be. It's gonna be inspired by TikTok, and it's gonna be experimental. Climb off your throne of $100 bills, please, and talk to us like we're fucking normal and not a bunch of idiots staring at TikTok constantly and being brainwashed, please. Because I would like to fucking understand what the fuck you mean. Alright? Like, I'm not looking forward to this at all. I'll always have the animated movie. And, like, this gives me no hope. No hope for any live action Disney movie that's based on their animated movies going forward. No hope. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. I usually reserve judgment for these things. Every word that they said in this article is fucking moronic, and I can't stand it. So there, you got my thoughts. It's a mini rant.
There you go. You heard it here. Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know, man. I love the original animated movie. So hearing this is a little bit like, what? Huh? But I don't know, man. I'll have to wait and see what who they like what the cast looks like, what the trailer eventually is gonna look like, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I mean, hearing this doesn't really inspire hope, you know, for the future of this movie. I will say that. But I don't know. Not a whole lot to say about it other than it doesn't really sound super exciting the way they're going about it. But we can move on from that. And we have some casting news for the next film in the Quiet Place franchise. We have Lupita Nyong'o joining A Quiet Place Day 1, which will be directed by Oscar winner Michael Sarnowski. She's in the final negotiations to lead Paramount's A Quiet Place Day 1, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The film is a spin-off of Paramount's A Quiet Place, which in 2018 became a surprise hit in the hands of director and star John Krasinski. It earned $340.9 million on a $17 million budget. He directed A Quiet Place Part 2 in 2021, and that earned a $297.3 million over on that run of that one. Michael Sarnowski, after directing Nicolas Cage's Pig movie, will direct based on an original idea from Krasinski. The story is being kept under wraps, which is due March 8th, 2024. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze real quick. But yeah. So they're maybe gonna be having Lupita Nyong'o joining the cast. It says she's in final negotiations here. She's very talented, so I think talent is good to add on your movie. So I think this is a good get right here for that movie if they can get it done. So yeah, that's good stuff right there. Moving on from this, we have some movie date shifts from Paramount. So Paramount Pictures had made two major tweaks to its release schedule, moving the Scream film from March 31st to March 10th, 2023, and pushing back the D&D movie from March 3rd to March 31st. So they recently had changed up its release strategy for Damien Chazelle's Babylon, which will open on December 23rd. After initially being set for a limited release on Christmas and then wide release on January 6th. Uh, the new screen will now open with the sci-fi picture 65, starring Adam Driver, Chloe Coleman, and Ariana Greenblatt. Also opening on March 10th is the focused features drama Inside, featuring William Dafoe. Over on the D&D side of things, its competitors are going to box office competitors are going to be Spinning Gold with Michelle Monaghan and Jason Isaacs. Sony's boxing movie Heart of a Lion with Forrest Whitaker, and Zach Braff's drama A Good Person, starring Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. Also, a crime picture called 1001 for Focus. So just a couple of dates shifting there for some movies. They're both still coming out the same month, but they're moving up and down a couple weeks for each one of those. Both still coming out in the same month as well, March of 2023. The last couple things we have here is that we have some casting news for Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. First one, or the one that we got here for this, is that Daniel Kaluuya is going to be joining the cast of that movie. He'll be voicing the role of Hobart Hobie Brown, aka Spider-Punk. So Spider-Punk is going to be joining Across the Spider-Verse, and he's going to be voiced by Daniel Kaluuya. I think this is a solid pick because Spider-Punk, I think, is typically portrayed as a British dude. Uh, so yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, and getting Daniel Kaluuya to play him is a good choice. So I think this is a solid pick for that, and yeah, I'm excited to see where you know they take this next movie into. There's been rumors about what other Spider people are going to be appearing in this, and I'm excited about some of those, but they haven't been confirmed, so I won't mention them. But now we know that Spider-Punk be one of those, being played by Daniel Kaluuya, and yeah, very very cool. The movie is set for release on June 2nd, 2023, with a third installment already planned for March 29th, 2024. So you won't have to wait too long for the next one, right after the second one. The last thing that we have here for the movie news is, well, I guess this counts for movie and TV news, but it's in here because it's also a movie as well as a TV show. But Netflix is going to be making a Gears of War movie and animated series. So one of the most popular Xbox games of all time, Gears of War, is heading over to Netflix. They're making a feature film adaptation followed by an adult animated series based on the sci-fi shooter. They announced earlier today. They also noted that there's potential for more stories to follow. Video game developer The Coalition, who took reins on the Gears of War after Microsoft acquired the rights to the series from original creator Epic Games, has partnered with Netflix on the upcoming adaptations rather. The first Gears of War came out on the Xbox 360 in 2006 and followed a macho team of soldiers called Delta Squad fighting against the Locust Horde, a subterranean alien race that decimates humanity. The main squad consisted of Marcus Phoenix, Dominic Santiago, Augustus Cole, and Damon Baird. They use a variety of heavy-duty firearms, rocket launchers, and lancers, which are rifles with chainsaws attached to them to dispatch locust swarms. There's 5 main entries and several spin-offs that have been released over the years. Uh, and yeah, this news comes on the 16th anniversary of the original game. And there's been previous attempts to bring Gears of War to the big screen. New Line Cinema had briefly had the rights to a film adaptation in 2007, but Scott Stuber, now head of original films at Netflix, came on as producer in 2013 with Epic Games. Universal then hired F. Scott Fraser to write an adaptation in 2018. But no other moves were made. Netflix did not announce any filmmakers attached to its adaptation. But here we go. Gears of War are finally getting a movie and animated series.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm personally I never played any of those games,
Me neither.
so I don't really have like the attachment to them that like Xbox, faithful do. So this doesn't really do much for me, but I mean, I might check it out. Like I never played the game, so I mean, I'll watch the show and the movie. Why not? Um, but yeah, I think I just think it's cool that we're getting more and more video game adaptations in general. You know, the hope now is that they're good, because we've had a lot of ones. We've had a lot, and they're not all the best. Some are better than others. Some are just straight dog shit. So we're hoping for good things here, even for stuff that we don't really necessarily care for, because in the end, or not care for or be too strong on or feel too strongly on, because in the end, they're still all video games. Uh, um, and having more video game adaptations is a good thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that'll do it for our video, or not only video game news, but movie news and TV news all together. Just the news in general. We're done for this week. Uh, any final thoughts on any of the stuff we talked about, Josh, before we head into our break here?
No, I'm good to keep on rolling into our break and then to come back and do our D&D stuff. So we'll be right back, guys. I'll run some ads on break. I'll put some music on, and for YouTube, this will be immediate, and then we'll be right back.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Clockwork Cantina. Sorry for the little bit of an extended break there. Had to do some stuff really quick at home. But we're gonna move into the second half of the show here, which is we're gonna hop into some D&D topics, some discussion on some things. So I'll go ahead and throw up the main topic text there, which will be safety tools and world building. The first thing we're gonna do is safety tools, and I don't know how long we're gonna spend on this, but it is what it is. If we feel like we should end after the safety tools section, we will. If not, we will do a little bit of world building. I know I don't want to keep DT here super long, and I don't want to stay necessarily too long either. DT, I'm going to send you a couple things here, so you can look as I look. So boom. So a couple weeks ago, I want to say, when was this tweet? Around October 24th. So for those of you that have been here long enough, I'm sure you've heard of the company, or me mention the company MCDM, or Matt Colville. It was a DM and like world builder and content creator on YouTube, as well as like former game dev, worked on Mercenaries and stuff like that, I believe. So they released something that I think is very important, that we're going to talk about, called the MCDM Tabletop Safety Kit. So you can get it for free over on their Patreon. And what it is I'll read you the tweets here. I can even show it to you, really. It says, say hello to the MCDM Tabletop Safety Toolkit, which you can get for free right now. This guide and checklist will make your D&D and other tabletop RPG adventures more fun for everyone. If you're unfamiliar with safety tools for tabletop RPGs, this is a great introduction. The link is below, and I will post a tweet in the chat for you guys that want to see it. And we're going to go through some of the safety toolkit. And by no means, like they say it in the tweet, it's like ours. Our toolkit isn't the first. It is influenced by projects like TTRPG Safety Kit from Kiana Shaw and Lauren Bryant Monk, and Consent in Gaming from Monty Cook Games. Both are excellent resources that you may also find helpful. So when we are sitting at like our tabletop table, right, like to play an RPG, we are sometimes at our most vulnerable with each other, right? We're letting you into our worlds and our characters, and we're giving you permission to role play with each other and to not try not to take advantage of each other's trust, because there should be trust at the table. I always start off, DT knows that when we start playing a new game of any kind, I always do like a little speech, you know, for people that are new, like, hey, here's what's acceptable at this table, here's what's not acceptable at the table. Even though we're playing online, I still call it the table, because that is essentially what we're doing. We're
The virtual table.
The virtual table. Exactly. We're sitting there, we're tagging each other and role playing with each other. So the safety checklist is a big list of things, and what it is that you can send this to your players, right? And they can check off what is okay at the table, what should only be alluded to at the table, what is never okay for that character, and it has a notes section. But what we're going to open up first is the actual safety tooltip, because this is the one that breaks down the safety tools, and you guys can get this for free and follow along at home. Let me see if I can actually open this.
So we're looking at the toolkit, right?
The toolkit. Yep, the toolkit. The
All right.
safety
I was
toolkit.
just making sure not to open up the checklist yet.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get it on like the screen for you guys right now. And we're just gonna read through it and talk about some of it and why it's important and stuff like that. All credit to the MCDM guys that put this together. All credit to the authors that I think is credited in here, and I will try to find the credits for you guys as well. So because I want everybody to be. It's very important that when you're at a table role playing with each other and playing the game, right? When you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's important that we take care of each other and are safe, especially because there are a lot of horror stories out there. I'm sure some of you have had them. Some of them have been documented on Twitch before. And you can watch just terrible, awkward, and just awful things in the videos. So, like, it's a thing that happens. Sometimes it happens by accident. Sometimes it happens on purpose because somebody thinks something's funny that is not funny. It is uncomfortable. So we're going to talk about it right here. We're going to get into this. So the MCDM Tabletop Safety Toolkit. If you've ever stopped mid-roll play to say, wait, sorry, is this description too gruesome? Let me fast forward to the part where they're dead. Or ask your GM, how goofy can we get because I'm thinking of naming my rogue Harold Coins and basing him on Roger Rabbit, then congratulations, you've inadvertently maybe used RPG safety tools. Safety tools, the X card, lines and veils, and others are simply ways to formalize the process of getting everyone at the table on the same page about the topics and themes you'll be exploring as you play.
Which I think is it's very important to have everybody on the same page in terms of that stuff, you know. You want to make sure people are comfortable at the virtual table, so to speak, or the real table if you're playing in person. And just, make everybody feel like they're in a safe space in terms of like what they're not you don't want to catch anybody off guard doing something that they weren't expecting or they're not comfortable, experiencing or whatever, so this is just a good way to make sure that everyone around the table is comfortable and feel safe and is having a good time together as a unit. But yeah, continue, Josh.
Exactly. Like things can get emotional at the table because you're connected to your characters, right? Like I am, even me as a DM, I'm connected to some of my NPCs. I'm connected to every single player character there. Like we've talked about it, and there are moments where things can get a little hot and heated, but never to the point where it's like, oh man, I hate. I'm just gonna use DT here because he's in the fucking chat with me. It's like, I'm never gonna be like, man, I hate DT. How dare he do that with his character? It's never like that. It's more like, man, that was intense, right, guys? Like with that, I can't believe Jedrick pulled that stunt maneuver off and killed that dude. Man, how intense, like that kind of fucking emotion, right? So let's read some of this. The why use safety tools, because boundaries are good. Safety isn't just about staying physically safe from harm. It also means staying emotionally, mentally, and psychologically safe. In a social game where we spend a lot of time playing a fictional character, safety tools give us a way to communicate our own likes and dislikes, comforts and discomforts. These tools minimize the likelihood that your role-playing game will veer into territory that makes someone feel unsafe or uncomfortable. They provide a framework for how to deal with those moments if they do occur, and set an intention to prioritize the comfort and fun of everyone at the table. All of these things together set us up for rich storytelling and gaming experiences. For example, if you play a horror game and discuss the topics and themes everyone is okay with and not okay with, you know what you can lean really hard into and tell an awesome creepy story while avoiding the stuff that people don't want to touch.
Exactly.
So
yeah, so even like it says there, even that could help you with the direction of your story,
Exactly. And there's one thing I want to address, and I should have done it when we started this, is like, when we first started the RPG world building parts of our podcast, right? Like we do every once in a while.
Yeah.
When we first started, we didn't really talk about safety tools. And it was, and honestly, I had never really given much thought about safety tools because we always talk before the game, right? I've never really thought about how important it is to getting it out there to you guys that aren't familiar with it. So I'm actually really glad that MCDM has put this out so we can address it now in this world building session because it is a very important thing. So that was just the one thing I wanted to talk about. So let's talk about incorporating safety tools. The way you approach and incorporate safety tools into your game depends on multiple factors, like whether you're playing with friends or strangers, or tucking into an ongoing campaign versus a one-shot. The good news is that safety tools are modular and flexible and can be implemented in a ton of ways. If you want to introduce safety tools into a campaign that hasn't started yet, start with the following Session 0 section. If you are introducing safety tools into a campaign that's already underway, skip ahead to the recommended safety tools. So let's just go ahead and start with the Session 0. Session 0 is the session your group holds before you start actually playing the campaign. It can be facilitated by the GM, another player, or a combination of people at your table. Session 0 is a great time to hammer out all kinds of details about your campaign, from the administrative details like scheduling and snags, to story stuff like what players can expect from the campaign. This is an exhaustive guide to planning a Session 0, but an overview and focus on topics related to safety and comfort. Campaign details. Whether the GM is running a published adventure, a campaign in a homebrew world, or some combination, talking about expectations for the campaign and style of play is a must for any Session 0. The CATS method by Patrick O'Leary is great for getting everyone on the same page. The GM explains and discusses the following ideas about the campaign with the players. Concept. The campaign's high-level overview. For example, you might say, in this game, you'll play kids in an alternate version of the 1980s running around your small town solving mysteries.
Stranger Things.
Like Stranger Things, right? Yeah. Next up is aim. What the player characters are trying to accomplish. After that, tone. Is this game serious, goofy, gonzo, dramatic, spooky, or something else? And lastly, subject matter. What kind of subjects are likely to come up during gameplay? Ending on subject matter is great because it leads the group directly into a conversation about safety tools. Moving on, gameplay expectations. If you don't touch on it while using cats, make time to go over what the game requires of players in terms of things like bookkeeping, math, tracking resources, drawing maps, and other works. Ideally, the GM or other players can offer to support those who want or need assistance with these parts of the game. Obviously, I help. You know, when my players need something, they often come to me like if they need maybe they need a map, or maybe they need the character sheet, or maybe they need me to help them keep track of something, like one of their spell uses or something. They can always come to me and talk to me about that, and I will obviously help and support them. And it's the same the other way around. If I have to go to them and be like, man, can you help me keep track of the math here? Like, you know, it doesn't happen often because we're playing online. Obviously, the tool safety kit is for online or physical play, which is why they're talking about, like, you know, scheduling, bookkeeping, math, and tracking.
The snacks and all that shit.
Yeah, all our virtual stuff is always like automatically kept track of for the most part. But you know, you never know when that can come in handy. You might play a game in person. Of
course.
So let's talk about logistics. Like safety tools, figuring out logistics is part of making sure everyone has fun. Some things to go over: how often you plan to meet, how long sessions will be, and whether there will be breaks during sessions, the best medium for communicating when someone's running late or has to cancel, what happens if one or more players can't make it to the session. For in-person games, discuss who's hosting, how you'll handle meals or snacks. For in-person games, discuss any COVID-19 protocols, masks, rapid testing before meeting, etc. For online games, discuss what virtual tabletop and voice chat you'll use, whether video is optimal, encouraged, or required, and whether side discussions in chat during roleplay are okay. So there's some things in this list that I don't even think we've even really talked about in some of our D&D games, Daniel. Like, we haven't really mentioned what happens if one or more players can't make it to the session, right? Like, often what happens is we tend to improvise, or we end up just canceling that session. But we've never really sat down and talked about it before we started a game or a campaign or something, right? Like,
yeah.
But so it is a thing to think about. In the future, I will try to think about that more. For in-person stuff, I have never really done much in-person gaming other than like when we were at WaveCon, right? Like that was the first time really in forever that I had run like a physical Dungeons and Dragons game. And obviously there was food, and that was like a whole different kind of set of worms there. But if you are somebody in the do in-person games, the discussing who's hosting the game and, you know, how you'll handle food and snacks. Because listen, you're sitting there playing the game. You're in person. You want chips, right? You want like maybe a soda or some water or something, right? You might be the game sessions are long, right? So you need to have things to drink,
Get some
things
food
to
at
eat.
some point. Maybe
Yeah.
if you go on long enough, you're like, yo, who's gonna go get us food, or who's gonna order food or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a thing to talk about, and it's very important for in-person games. For online games, you know, we talk about things like video chat. We don't usually do video chat when we play tabletop because it can be not weird. It's just like not all of us are comfortable being on camera and doing our voices, and we make like I make some funny faces when I'm doing voices for NPCs, right? I'm like, I don't know how comfortable I am with everybody seeing my lips upturned, my nose squinted up, and like, you know, like it's a comfort thing, right? But we have streamed our games here, and that's one thing that's not in the logistics, is like we've streamed our games on Twitch before. And that's a thing that we always talk about before we stream a game. It's like, hey, if we do this, are you okay with being streamed on Twitch if we do a stream one day? And like most people are usually okay with it when we talk about it. But yeah, that's the thing we talk about.
I think it'd be cool at some point if we do a game with like cams on and everything, and you know, we stream and all that. That'd be dope.
I'm definitely not opposed to that. That would be a lot of fun. Let's move on to comfort and accessibility. Have a conversation about what everyone at the table needs to make it comfortable and accessible. Some ways to make your time together more comfortable for people. Make it clear that it's okay to get up and stretch or move away when they need to.
Yeah.
Let people knit, crochet, draw, color, or otherwise occupy their hands during play. Notice how I am messing with this stick I found outside while I was on break. I am somebody that fidgets with things. Like, you'll see me, you guys have all seen it. I know you have. I've told DT a million times I need an emote of it. I need a rocking chair. I need a rocking chair emote. I rock back and forth all the time. I can't help it.
You're rocking back and forth all the time. Yeah.
It's just what I do, man. It helps me stay focused. It's weird to explain, but it's just part of it's part of who makes me me, right? Like, if it distracts people, I apologize for that, but it almost happens subconsciously. I can't help it. So yeah, that's a thing you can to talk about. You can allow phones or tablets at the table for anyone who is using them to take notes or to keep their hands occupied with apps for fidgeting. Discuss this with your table to make sure that everyone has what they need and uses devices responsibly, in a way that doesn't distract them or other players from the game. So yeah, like, again, the phones and tablets thing doesn't matter as much for us. We're all online. It's all right there. I don't care if you check your phones or tablets at the table, for the most part. You know, it happens. All I ever ask is that you're kind of prepared for your turn. That's all. The goal here isn't to anticipate everything people might need, but to make it clear that everyone should feel safe and comfortable asking for what they need to enjoy and engage with the game. PT, if you don't have anything on comfort and accessibility, we can move right along to...
No, I mean, I think for that kind of stuff, I think it makes sense. Yeah, like all of that is just, yeah, like obviously the in-person stuff doesn't really apply to us as much, but yeah, I think it all goes back to like at the top of what we were talking about in the beginning. Like, it's just important to um from the get-go, just with once you have the people that you're going to be playing with, you kind of go over the things that they need to make them comfortable and just whatever they need, like accessibility wise
Yeah.
for the game, like for it's because playing D&D, like, it's fun, but yeah, it goes on for hours, man. It sometimes, it varies. Like, sometimes it'll be longer than some sessions will be longer than others, but like, you're still there for at least a few hours. So you gotta have things that you know you're you're gonna you're gonna be like you're gonna need or you're gonna be comfortable with for a certain amount of time that you're gonna be playing with. So all that makes sense to me. um I think, yeah, it's definitely like something that, like, if you're gonna have a group of people, like, for a campaign, if playing for a long time, definitely should be discussed. Very of very very much of high importance. um so yeah, no, all that absolutely makes sense to me. So yeah.
All right. Moving in to talk safety tools. Discuss
Uh-huh.
the various tools you plan to use in your campaign, and tell players how they work. If you're sending out a survey or using a checklist for lines and veils, you may wish to do that before session 0, so you can discuss any details and make sure the group is aware of the lines and veils in play. No matter which tools your tables use, the goal of any session 0 or conversation about safety is establishing an environment of open communication where people feel comfortable talking about their boundaries. Wrap up. After you've talked through the safety tools and completed the safety checklists, if your table is using it, you can discuss anything else you or anyone at the table might want to go over in more depth, or that hasn't come up so far. When everyone feels ready to get started, it's time to wrap up session 0 and start playing. Remind your group that you can come back to safety tools and add to or change them as they fit throughout the campaign. Moving on to recommended safety tools. Using any safety tool is better than none, but having multiple in place provides the most robust safety for your table, because they all work hand in hand with one another. Of course, you and your table are the best people to decide what you want to use and how to use them. Maybe you'll want to use certain tools and not others, or parts of some and not parts of others. Don't feel like you have to make all of these decisions at once. You can discuss as a table, and you can even add safety tools or take them away as your campaign goes on. Once you've introduced the tools, explain exactly how they're used. Folks at your table might have different levels of familiarity and comfort with them. It might also help for the GM or whoever's facilitating the table safety to give some examples of how they're used in play to model and normalize their use. If you're not sure how to introduce safety tools, maybe because you've been playing with a group of friends for a long time and haven't used them before, like us, or because you're playing with totally new people and aren't sure how to broach the topic, remember that these tools are there to be used in whatever ways are best for you and your table. That might mean choosing a tool you like and introducing it to the group, or sharing a safety checklist or Google form where people can fill in things they do and do not want to see in their game. They're lines and veils. You can adapt any of the tools below to feel right for your group and still get a lot out of them. So the first thing we're going to talk about is lines and veils. Created by Ron Edwards, lines and veils allows everyone to state what topics and themes they'd like to exclude or limit in play. Lines are any topics or themes that should be excluded entirely from the game. Veils are topics or themes that can exist in the game, but are not explored during roleplay and only happen off-screen. Lines and veils are typically established during Session 0, but can be added to at any time. For example, if the table has decided that there is a line for torture, that means that torture doesn't exist in the game story and should never come up. On the other hand, if there is a veil for torture, it means that torture may exist in the story, but that it will never be described by the GM or players. It may be referenced, but that's it.
Yeah, so in other words, like you could say if torture's a veil, they could or the GM could say, for example, we're playing a game with our group. Josh is our GM, and we as a party or as a group have decided that where torture's not a line because it can still happen, so it can be a veil, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of Josh going into full detail talking about this person's torture and whatnot, he can just say, "Oh, this person torture did happen. This person was tortured, but you know, basically, what we need to know happened. Like in other words, what I'm trying to say is he'll let us know that happened, but he's not gonna go into the details of what happened or any
Exactly.
of that stuff.
Like,
yeah.
I probably would never do that anyway. And that's the thing, like, I think people need to understand about the GM toolkit. The toolkit is not saying, man, you're going to talk about these things, right? It's not saying, like, you're going to talk about somebody being, tortured in depth like that. But it's just saying if it happens to
Yeah.
come up, like, we're not going to get into too many details on it exactly. Like,
Right.
it's not accusing you of, like, you're going to do this in your game. It's just,
And
it's
there's
a
and there's
line.
other heavy shit like that too, right? Like
Mhm.
fucking, like rape and a bunch of other like heavy
Mhm.
topics that people are not necessarily comfortable with that they'll draw lines at or veils to, right? Like so that's why it's important to kind of get with your GM, get with your party and everybody involved in the game and kind of talk about the shit, beforehand. And yeah, maybe like before you meet up for session 0, maybe like throw up like a Google Doc of like what things are you comfortable with, what are you not comfortable with, and then you can talk about it in more detail once you group up for session 0.
You know something funny, DT? We already kind of use lines and veils with a friend of ours, Paula,
It's true.
right?
It's true. Yeah, we do.
Paula does not like a certain creature, right? Now that creature exists in the world, so that can't be a line. Lines would mean it wouldn't exist, but it is a veil. And the way we address this particular creature is we call them redacteds. We don't call them by their name.
Redacted.
We call them redacteds when we're in voice chat and we might see this particular critter running around. We're like, oh man, redacted's over here. If Paula's around, we like to be respectful of Paula's, phobia or whatever, or one of our phobias. I don't like being in high places. I'll tell you that right now. Like, that shit fucking messes with my head. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, it's an example of, like,
Yes.
lines and veils.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we already use this tool. We just don't use it in a tabletop setting necessarily. We use it in a voice chat setting where we're playing video games.
In a real life setting.
Exactly. And I didn't think about it until this exact moment where I was like, lines and veils. We already use this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's lines and veils.
And that's just one example of that you can,
Mhm.
you know, that like for us, we use it in our everyday lives or whatever, but you can use to also incorporate into your tabletop gaming. So there you go.
Exactly. The safety checklist. One way to approach lines and veils is to use a checklist preloaded with topics and themes that are things people commonly limit or eliminate from a game. Although the checklist has a bunch of stuff already listed, the GM and players should add items as necessary. You can use the MCDM's checklist provided at the end of this guide. So we can talk about that at the end.
The checklist, yeah.
Or we can check at it now, because that is technically the end of that guide. So if we want to look over at the checklist, DT.
Sure, actually, yeah.
Let's do that. Because I don't want to get too far away from lines and veils before we talk about it. So
yeah, let's do it. So
we got the tabletop safety checklist.
Just looking over it, like scanning over it, like briefly skimming it over. This seems like it's a good little checklist here. So, Josh, take it away.
All right. Let's read the opening line here. It says, "This is a list of topics and themes that people often consider with care, or eliminate from the fiction entirely. Lord. During tabletop games, it doesn't anticipate every topic or theme, or every iteration of a topic or theme. So feel free to add your own using the notes section column as needed to provide more context. To use the checklist, check line or veil in any row if the topic/theme is a hard line for you. It should not exist in the world of game. Hold up, let me reread that. To use the checklist, check the line or veil box in any row if that topic/theme is a hard line for you. It should not exist in the world of the game. Or a veil. It can exist in the world of the game, but it should not be described or role-played at the table and remains off-screen. Yes. You can also mark, not my PC, for any topic or theme that you're fine with having in the story as long as it doesn't impact your character. So DT, do you want to read the horror section for us for some of the lines?
I'll go into it. Yeah. So we have the first section is the horror part, and we have apocalypses, blood, body horror, demons, gore, injury to certain body parts. Please specify, which you can do so in the notes section there on the side. And then mind control, serial killers, vampires, and zombies. And for each and every one of those, you can either mark it a line, veil, not my PC, and then add a couple notes there to your liking. If you want to add any other bits of information there. So yeah, that's I feel like there might be more, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head that you could probably add to the horror section. But I think this seems like a pretty good starting point, right? Like a general point of like, yeah, these are all horror things that, are people okay with apocalypses, with blood, with demons, gore? Some people may not be the biggest fans of gore, so they'll, they may not want to they may not want to have to, directly deal with that or whatever. So maybe they'll mark it as a veil, or, serial killers. Maybe that's a line they don't want to, have to deal with at all, or
no zombies.
Mind control.
Maybe that's a line.
No zombies.
No zombies in this world. Don't exist. Impossible. They never heard of, never existed. Same with vampires. All right. I will read some of the fears and traumas because these are a little heavier, so I want to be the one to read those for you guys. I'm not going to put that on our boy DT, so I will read these. Fears and traumas. We have abduction, bugs, rats, snakes, spiders, redacted.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Redacted.
Paula's not here, so I'm going to say the actual name.
Spiders.
Claustrophobia, dehydration, drowning, hypothermia, involuntary commitment, fire, starvation, suffocation, domestic violence, sexual violence, gaslighting, as well as imperialism and or colonialism, military violence or aggression, police violence or aggression, prison, terrorism, torture, and trypophobia, I guess is how you pronounce it. I am not exactly sure how you pronounce it, but it is the fear of holes, which I don't have that phobia, but I have heard of it before.
Trypophobia.
Yeah. So those are fears and traumas. Obviously, a line for me would be the sexual violence will never. I've said it a million times whenever we start the game. Will never be in any of my games ever. It will not exist. I will not allow it. But yeah, it goes into great depths over like your fears and traumas and things over here. So, it's it's a lot. It's a lot of like
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
that can possibly be bad, right? Like, you know, we've talked about the redacteds. You know, and it could trigger something at the table. Somebody having a moment. You know, like yeah, it's best to fill these out. So, DT, do you want to do the next one, or do you want me
I'll
to
do
do
the
it?
next one. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
do the next one. Yeah. So what we got for the next one is we have hate speech, discrimination, and violence based on disability, gender, heritage, land of origin, race or ancestry, religion, sexuality, and weight or size. So those are some other ones you can draw a line or veil to, uh, depending on how you feel about each and every single one of those.
Race or
Well,
ancestry is probably the one that you will actually encounter, I feel like, the most, because in the world of D&D, you have multiple races, right? Multiple
there's many.
ancestries. Like, it's very easy for like one particular group not to like another set of group and to have derogatory terms for them. I've used them in D&D games before, but I never thought about it being a line or veil that might be crossed. So it being here is important for me, and it would be important for people at the table that might find that uncomfortable, that I've never really thought about before, to be honest. Like, yeah. We experience things in our lives as we grow, and we see things every day, and I'm talking about real life here, not just in like D&D, but like that can have a profound impact on how we react to things in fiction, right? Like, um, I can't read a book that might have like a sexual assault in it. Like, it happens in some books, and if the moment that happens in a book, I have to put it away. You know, it just triggers something in me that I can't keep reading a book or something like that. It's hard for me to watch movies that might have that in it or something. So I'm using that as an example here, and like things, how they affect us both in real life and and in our fiction, right? So moving on, we have health and body. So we have addiction, alcohol, amputation, cancer, dementia, drugs, in quotes, insanity, mental illness, paralysis, PTSD, self-harm, smoking, suicide, vehicle crashes, and vomiting.
Vomit.
So, like, one on here that's kind of scary for me is dementia. Like, the thought of I kind of becoming a prisoner in my own mind is kind of how I've often looked at dementia, right? Because like you forget kind of who you are and stuff a lot. And I have a bad memory. DT knows this. So there is like a fear in my body about dementia. Now, it's not enough that I would draw it as a line or even a veil, but for somebody it might be. For somebody with a history with drugs, it needs to be a line for them. You know, like they need it not mentioned to them because it's it's something they've dealt with in the past, and they don't want to relive that experience when they're trying to have fun at the table. And that's the most important thing, is having fun
Or
at
maybe
the table.
they know somebody in real life
Yeah,
that has to go through that, and they just don't want to, they don't want to have to go through that again.
exactly. So those are some of the lines and veils for the health and body there. What do we have next, DT? If you want to continue on to the next page.
So the next thing that we have here is we have pregnancy, uh, which is either or which includes abortion, childbirth, miscarriage, pregnancy complications, and stillbirth. These are all very delicate
Yes.
topics, especially in real life at the moment as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is one that you definitely. I mean, you all of these are very important, but like also this one is another one that's very. You have to be very, very, careful with because you don't want to upset anybody. So,
Exactly, and it's why I'm glad it's
definitely,
on the checklist, especially now when it's so
yeah.
important.
Today's day and age, yeah, of our
Exactly.
current times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Next, we have threats to animals, children, and elders. Some people react to threats to these things, so it's important that to establish what is okay and not okay at the table. Um, Same as like harm or violence to animals, children, and elders. I'm just gonna throw that in there as well. DT, what do we have next?
Uh, we're on the natural disasters one,
Yes.
which includes earthquakes, floods, storms, tsunamis, or wildfires. Again, uh, there may be people that have maybe unfortunately have to have experienced some of these, maybe. So you want to kind of uh avoid that if possible. And this is where they can state that because yeah, I mean nature's you know can be fucked up and
Yeah. Can
these
give
are
you a
just some of the
trauma.
options of things, yeah, and you know they give you some pretty again, there might be more that are not on here, but I think those are pretty much the big ones, right? In
Yeah.
terms of like natural disasters. So yeah.
The next one is an important one for me because DT knows I love romance, and I
Romance.
want it in my games, although it doesn't happen very often. It is very important though that you treat romance very delicately because not everybody at the table is going to be comfortable with that. It can be very uncomfortable at times. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, when KT was like, "Okay," turned to me and said, "Seduce me," when I was trying to romance an NPC character, obviously it was funny and it was joking and stuff too. And if it had been somebody else, they might have reacted differently than I did. Instead, I just joked and seduced him with my NPC, with
Yeah.
my player character. But you know what I mean? Like, it's very important that you don't make people uncomfortable. And if you do, like, it's always gonna. I think it's always gonna be a little awkward because we're because you kind of can't help it, but it's still
Yeah.
funny. Like it's still
Yeah.
a thing important. It says it's romance, so is light flirting, horny flirting between PCs, between NPCs, between PCs and NPCs. So obviously, I like romance, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't have an issue with most of any of this stuff, really, for me personally.
Yeah.
But some other people might not like romance. They might not like an NPC necessarily flirting with their character. They might not like another PC flirting with their character. So it's very important that we draw the lines and veils with romance, and it might not even come up in D&D games unless romance is something that is important to you and to your character. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I left the
Yeah. I
best
know
for
that.
last for you, DT. So have enjoy.
Oh, where are we at? Oh, sexual content. Oh boy, this is a where we have the this is a safety checklist, but where's the opposite end of that, man? Where's the like sign me up? No, I'm just kidding. We're here we go with this one. So we have jokes about sex or genitalia, kissing, having sex between PCs and NPCs. So much like the romance one, this is kind of pretty much the same, but
Mhm.
it's obviously not just romantic, but it's sexual uh, you know, content, obviously. So
Yeah.
you yeah, so we have joking about it. Yeah, then you just go kissing, and then you just go full on doing the act, and then like, all right, between players and NPCs. So yeah, that's these last two kind of go a little hand in hand there a little bit. Not, you don't have to have romance for there to be some fucking, but they're kind of some of them go into can go into each other. Not not necessarily, but they can kind of blend in. Also, I did not mean for that to go the way that that did, but it did. So
Hey, it is
tr-
what it is.
you're welcome.
Here's the thing. There are games, Cyberpunk, I'll throw out there, that are very
Mhm.
sexual at moments in nature. I
Yeah.
mean, from the moment you start playing the game, you make your character, you pick size and everything like that about your genitals,
Yeah.
right? So like, and there are out there. I would never be comfortable being a part of them, but uh, there are very sexually explicit Dungeons and Dragons games out there that are, look, what you do with your own time is up to you, right? And it's important to have your safeties and boundaries no matter what game you're playing with them. So the safety checklist is nice to have. It has all the options on here. The ones that are heavy, the ones that are light, there's heavy things in here. And I appreciate it being handled delicately and with finesse and just even in the checklist. It's not a lot of joking in it. It's just or at all really. It is, these are important, like take them seriously. We also have other here, which is you can fill in anything that's not above and make it a line or veil and notes as well. So very extensive checklist. I will probably use this in the future. Some ways I would use this is I would send this out to my players. I would try to do it anonymously, but I feel like it'd be kind of hard if you're sending it through Discord or something like that. So I'd probably try to find a way for so it could be done anonymously if somebody wanted to point out, like, because I don't want to put like pressure on anybody to be like, oh,
Mm.
they're gonna know about this about me or anything like that, right? I don't.
Can we maybe do it like anonymously or whatever?
I would rather it be done kind of anonymously, and that way, you know, obviously if you're gonna pick not my PC, I kind of have to know who the PC is, so that's kind of not gonna be anonymous. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I think it would be. You can tell me if you want to know if you're okay with telling me who you are and filling this out, but I would probably try to do it anonymously, just because I like to respect people, and that's their hangups and or
Yeah.
not hangups, but like their traumas
So yeah,
and fears.
you give them the option, like you can do it anonymously or you can do it not if you're comfortable with doing that.
Exactly. I don't want an outside pressure on them to be like, man, Josh is gonna know this stuff about me. Like, no,
Yeah.
because I don't know who it is if you don't tell me, and I want you. It's there is trust between DM and
Definitely.
player, right? And I would never want to
Absolutely.
violate that for anybody, right? Now, if you tell me that, anything you told me in this checklist, and you're okay with me knowing who you are, it will never go beyond me. I will never share this with anybody. It will. I will keep the checklist obviously for the duration of the campaign, and then I'm going to throw it out because it is your trust and the trust that the players have in me at that table is absolutely the most important thing to me at that table. It is important that you have fun. It is important that you understand that I am there to help facilitate that fun and that you feel safe having that fun at the table, right? So, trust is very important in a game like this where we pour our hopes, some of our hopes, some of our fears into these characters. A lot of times, first time D&D players they pour a lot of themselves and who they really are into their characters, and it has to be treated delicately. Sometimes people go off the wall and are somebody totally different from who they are in real life. But I found most of the time, the first time, and I'm somebody that is very much like, if you're gonna play D&D, I want you to play it for the first time with me. I want to be the DM for you. This was very important to me. It happened at WaveCon. It's happened on the Discord. I've told people, if this is your first time playing D&D, let me be your DM, because I feel like I'm going to give you a good experience, and I'm going to be very gentle with anything that you come up with during the course of play, and to help ease you into being comfortable, spreading out from that first character, because that first character is like, we pour so much of ourselves into it. I did it when I was the first time player. I poured a lot of myself into that character, right? So it's an important thing. All right, we're going back to the other page here, the safety toolkit. We're going to look at the X card now. So the X card is a tool created by John. I am going to butcher your last name, sir, and I apologize. Stavropoulos. Stavropoulos.
Stavropoulos?
Stavropoulos? Is that how? Oh, yeah, Polis. I guess that's how you'd say it.
Yeah.
John, if I butchered your name, I apologize. That allows anyone at the table to remove content from the game that makes them uncomfortable with no explanations needed. The X card can be a physical object on the table, a piece of paper with an X on it, that people can touch or hold up when they want to invoke it. People can also verbally say X card, type X card into an online chat, or cross their fingers or arms to signal that they are invoking the tool. When the tool is invoked, play stops. The person who used the X card can explain why they used it, but don't have to. No one should be pressured to explain or debate their boundaries. After play stops, you can resume again at a future point in the narrative. But if anyone wants to break or would like to discuss the content in private with the GM or another player, make time for it. So the X card is something we've used, DT. It hasn't come up yet, but I always say, if there's something that's happening in the game that you're uncomfortable with, all you have to do is send me a DM or make it known in some way that is bothering you, and we will immediately stop what we're doing and move on. That's the X card. This is a tool we've used at the table before. Next up, we have script change, created by Bo Yager Sheldon.
Bro, Jaeger Sheldon? Yeah.
Sheldon. I apologize, guys, for name pronunciation is not my best, even as a D&D.
Also, John's last name, now that I'm thinking about it, might be Stavropoulos, too. Sounds like maybe like a Greek name or something. But anyway. So script change.
So script change allows in-depth, real-time changes to the game. The first step with this tool is to decide on a rating for your campaign. For example, a G-rated campaign would be suitable for people of all ages, while an R-rated campaign might have drug use, excessive violence, or sexual content. Giving your campaign a rating can be useful to describe the general level of intense or explicit content people are okay with, too. During play, the script change can be invoked by touching physical cards or by speaking or typing one of the action phrases from the list below. This tool is useful for groups that want a system in place for pausing to talk above the table. It can help normalize metagaming and retconning, retroactively changing something, two concepts that get a bad rap in gaming, but are helpful in establishing and maintaining safety at the table. If it feels foreign or strange, make changes to the story. You can weave script changes into the story by framing them as dreams or predictions. So, we have fast forward. Invoke this if you want to skip over the rest of the current scene. For instance, a player might want a romantic moment to fade to black, or skip past the details of a gory description. Rewind. Invoke this if you want to change an action or event that has occurred in the game. It can be anything from, wait, I don't think my character would say that, to, can we say the kid didn't get hurt and that he just got scared and ran away? Instant replay. Invoke this if you want to pause and go over what just happened and play out of character. This can be used after an intense interaction, or even after a long scene with complex details. Frame by frame. Invoke this if you want to take the scene slowly, maybe because the topic or theme is making you uncomfortable. You're nervous about roleplay, or you anticipate the material could veer into territory you want to handle carefully. Resume. Invoke this after one of the other script changes tools once everyone is ready to resume play. You can actually download the script change cards here. It has a link for you that will open a document to itch.io where you can get the cards. All right, DT, do you have anything you want to say on script changes, or are you ready to move on to stars and wishes?
I think I think we kind of do some of this sometimes as well.
Yeah.
When we've done in our previous games, and yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty neat tool. The cool thing about all this stuff that we're talking about here is that you don't have to use everything here,
Right.
but you can if you want to. They're just all cool little things you can throw into your game and utilize them if you so choose to do that. Um, but no, yeah, I think that's just a cool little tool that you can use for your game should you and your party if you're the GM choose to yeah it's you know pretty cool. So what's next, Josh?
Next up, we have Stars and Wishes. So, Stars and Wishes by Lou Quaid is a tool for collecting feedback from the table that also provides a fun way to wrap up a session. At the end of each session, ask each player to share one star, a moment from the game that they really loved, and one wish, something they hope will happen next time. Ending a session intentionally is particularly helpful after heavy games that could result in the character's emotions affecting the player's emotions once the game is over. Some people also include a sprinkle, something from the session they feel might tie into their character's backstory that they'd like to call to the GM's attention. If Stars and Wishes doesn't feel right for your table, end heavy sessions by asking players to describe a brief epilogue moment for their characters, something that puts a bow on the session and creates a firm conclusion to this part of the story. It can be as simple as asking each player, "What does your character do after this?" Stars and Wishes is something I want to do more of because it will help me build the next session. Right? And it helps me find out what the players loved about the session that just happened. So I could add more of that in the future of something that they like, right? So this one definitely feels more like a DM tool, but it is definitely like the players can also use this as well to like the sprinkle, right? Like, hey, this thing happened in the course of the game. I think it might have something to do with my backstory, so I'd like you to kind of take a closer look at that. Maybe you can fit it in, type of deal. It's really hard to work some things into a character's backstory. But if say I'm a DM, right, and I'm running an adventure, and Jedrick the Ranger's there, and I've just planned the game. I haven't looked at Jedrick's backstory at all, and I've just written out a session, and after the game's over, and Jedrick's like, I got a sprinkle, I think this magic bow that we've heard a legend about, that might have something to do with my character. So can you like, that's sprinkle? Can you look into that? Without me even having looked at your backstory, something that might fit in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So Stars and Wishes might be something we use more of in my table.
Yeah.
If the players are okay with that. So in closing, we have safety tooltips. Simply having safety tools in place is the beginning, not the end, of creating and maintaining a safer gaming space. There are some best practices GMs should deploy throughout sessions and campaigns to make sure everyone utilizes tools. First up, we have be cool about immersion. Be relaxed about immersion, metagaming, and retconning. Safety and fun are more important than delicately tending to the game's narrative. Trust yourselves and one another to tell great stories, including making changes and discussing moments and beats as you go. And that's what you'll do. All of the best stories have edits. If you notice someone getting uncomfortable or scene veering towards established lines or veils, interrupt play to check in with the table, or suggest taking a break. If anyone feels that a scene has inadvertently taken a strange turn towards a subject that people feel uncomfortable with, even if nothing that violates a line or veil has taken place, the GM and players should feel free to retcon a scene, either by using a script change or simply saying, "Wait, I'd like to take that again and change some things." Frequent check-ins. Even with safety tools in place, a game can still wander into territory that makes someone uncomfortable. Check in at the beginning of each session and ask everyone how everyone feels about the game so far, and to ask if people would like to add to the lines and veils. So that, guys, is the MCDM Tabletop Safety Toolkit. I'm actually really glad that we went over this today because it's very important
It's cool.
to establish safety things, and there's a lot to learn from it. Again, you can get this completely free from MCDM on their Twitter. You can get it from their Patreon, completely free, 100% free. It's a very useful tool for those out there that maybe you're new to Dungeons and Dragons and you're not used to safety tools, or maybe you're a new DM and you're looking on getting into it a bit more. It's a way that everybody can come to the table, play D&D, have fun, feel safe there, trust each other there, and I broke my stick. And
I heard it snap too.
yeah, uh, and yeah, I don't really have anything more to say on it. DT, do you have anything you want to
No,
add on to the MCDM toolkit?
that was really interesting. Lots of interesting, cool tools that you can or cannot use. I think probably one of the most important ones is probably the safety checklist. That one I think is really important in terms of like making sure what your players are comfortable with as a GM. Um, and like even though I never run a campaign myself, GM wise or anything, I feel like these are all tools that eventually, whenever I do, if I do do if I do run a game, I will be utilizing because they're very important and helpful tools too. Like, not only do they help make sure everybody is safe and comfortable in playing in your game, but they'll also help you determine where you can take the game story and whatnot. Um, so I think they're all really, really cool and important, interesting tools that you have at your disposal. Again, you don't have to use them all if you don't want to, but I feel like some definitely are more important than others, and yeah, it's just cool. Like in terms of like the whole session zero stuff too. Like it's good to just before you start playing, just gather everybody up, talk about expectations of the game and what to expect and what people are comfortable with and if anybody needs help with anything or all that kind of stuff is definitely important just to make sure everybody's on the same page and then you know then you can start playing and having a good time. um but yeah, no, I think these things are it's something that, yeah, it's not talked about a whole lot, and we're only just now getting to it, and this is our 7th episode of the or 7th part of the D&D world building stuff, and, better late than never, I suppose, but yeah, it's, really, really, really cool things to consider and discuss and talk about and just, share that this is the thing because a lot of people may not even be aware or not even think about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's good. It's good to showcase this kind of stuff and have people in their own D&D groups with their own GM and fellow players and whatnot, talk about this kind of stuff because it is important.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, definitely good stuff in here. A lot of cool, like I said, tools and methods and things you can use or not use in your game. if you or your party decides to. Um, but I think for the most part, it's all helpful. Um, if you should use them or not. Um, but yeah, this is all just all things that are designed to help everybody involved have a better experience overall, I think.
All right, I'm actually fine with ending this episode right here, DT.
Yeah, it's a we
Because
can we can make this one just be the safety toolkit one. That's all good.
yeah, so I'm glad we went over that. Um,
Yeah, it's good.
an important thing that I haven't really thought about going over it before on the podcast because, like, I don't know, I've never like I haven't put when I use safety tools, right? I don't have a paper in front of me that I read. It's all like us at the table talking to each other and working things out. So MCDM is like the first like here's all this safety tool stuff in one place where you can read all the options and things there. So that's why I'm glad that they put that out. I know like some of that stuff has existed for years. Um, and I'm sure they got permission to put all that stuff in one big toolkit together, so you have all the information in like one place. So, um, pretty awesome. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today's episode, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to DT so we can wrap up, get out of here, get some food. I have some work to do. I
Yeah.
need to do on dice, so I'm gonna throw it over to DT.
Really quickly before that, we have a new poster of a movie that we're
Oh,
looking
we
forward
do.
to. If you want to throw that up real quick
Yeah,
before we
let's
get
have a
to
look
the
at it.
ending screen.
Let's
Take a look at
check.
that.
Oh, let me open that up.
It was tweeted by Mr. Zachary Levi, and it is a poster for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Um, he says, "Mark your calendars. Shazam movie, Fury of the Gods. Wiser, stronger, faster, funnier. I mean, overall cooler than the rest. And did we mention humble? Coming at you only in theaters on March 17th. Shazam movie 2, Electric Boogaloo. There it is. And it
Let me
looks
take
like
this.
I didn't even notice this before. But it looks like Shazam has a new suit in this movie. And I'd have to compare the two to see which one looks better. But the thing that really I can really tell that it's a different one is the boots. Those look very different, and I'm sure there's obviously other details here and there, but I'd have to compare the suits from this one and the last one.
There we go. Sorry,
But
chat. Took me a minute.
yeah, look at that.
There we
Look
go.
at there it is. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. So yeah, it looks like he has a new suit for this movie. I have
Yeah,
to compare the two suits from this one and the last one, see how it is. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. For the tone of the if you've seen the first movie, you know the kind of tone that to expect from this. So yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up since I saw that was a thing before we wrap up this episode here.
sure.
But yeah,
I'm gonna throw it over to you.
we can get on out of here, sir.
You're up, sir.
Uh, Thank you all for watching today's episode of Clockwork Cantina. It was another world building episode. This is part 7 with the safety checklist and toolkit. We will be doing more D&D World Building episodes in the future, I'm sure. This is probably going to be the last one for this year, though, because we got plenty of other things to get to cover the remaining 2 months of the year, which is this month and next month. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys had some pretty cool, helpful tools um, for for your own D&D games or RPG games. And we'll be back next week or next time. And coming up for me, I'm going to be playing some more Prey. I currently have YouTube videos going up on my channel, so go check that out. Go follow me on all the stuff here on the sidebars. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Well, bye. Have yourselves a good one. Peace out, everybody. By the way, I don't think I can't hear you. I don't know if
Nope,
you're
I was muted that entire time like an idiot. Hi guys. Thank God that Daniel said something, because I am dumb. Hi. Thanks everybody for watching the show.
Yeah, because like I couldn't hear you on here, but then I was like, well, maybe the stream can hear him, and I turned on the stream button, and I was like, nope, still can't
Nope.
hear him. So I was like,
Nope.
let me let you know so that you know you're muted.
Yeah, here's what happened. A motorcycle went down the road and it was so loud that I grabbed and muted the mic and forgot I muted it. Thank you everybody for watching the show. I don't have any plans upcoming on any streams. I'm trying to get a laptop so I can stream some dice making. That's right. I'm a dice maker, guys. If you haven't seen the stuff I do, 902 Dice Creations, Etsy, Instagram, TikTok. I'm putting up videos every week of things that I make. I have work I got to do when we're done with the show and I go eat food. If you want commissions in time for Christmas, get in line, because I have a line right now for dice creation stuff for polyhedral dice for D&D or other tabletop RPG stuff. Until next time, have a good N7 day. I hope you got something good out of the safety toolkit. Make sure to go grab that. You can get it for free on MCDM. Twitter and their Patreon has links to it, so I put them in the chat. Make sure to go grab that stuff. And we will see you on the next Clockwork Cantina, guys. Bye-bye.